Welcome to Air Checks. Last week, we played the first episode of the Burglar's Bargains. We will continue on with the last 2 episodes for this week. Now happily ensconced behind bars, Charles and George are keeping themselves busy organizing a full curriculum of artistic and cultural activities for their fellow inmates. But their cushy life is threatened when they learn that they're up for parole. The only way to stay inside is to commit another crime. So, aided by their jailbird friends, they plan their most audacious job yet, stealing the crown jewels. From April 1982 on BBC 4, here is a right royal rip-off.
Now, Twilly. 1, 2.
Where the bee sucks, there suck I.
Suck, 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 suck.
Right, lads. Now, just hold it there. Now, I realise that since the Governor, at George and Charles's suggestion, of course, has arranged that B Block is to give a concert at the Tower of London, which every prisoner in B Block quite naturally wants to be in the choir. But lots of you, unfortunately, can't sing for toffee. Order, gentlemen, please, order. So I think the best thing all round, both to satisfy my aesthetic judgment and to ensure that all of us still go on the outing, is that the ones I now indicate, the growlers that is, will kindly mouth the words rather than actually singing them, all right?
This is sort of talent.
Right. Basil, mouthing only.
You were flat.
Billy?
Oh, right.
Winston?
Yeah, right on, Nigel.
Tommy, mouthing?
Right.
Fingers?
Really?
Yes, mouthing.
Suit yourself.
Now, gentlemen, let's try again with some heartfelt mouthing as well as singing. Right, from just before, suck, 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 suck. 1, 2.
Where the bee sucks, there suck I.
Suck, suck.
In our cow's lips, well I lie.
Oh, no, stop. Now, you just mouthed it as well, Bullet Head.
No. Not that. No one calls me that. No one. Not anymore. No one calls me B.H.
Sorry, I'm sorry, Bullet. I mean, Cyril. Yes, I was forgetting, sorry. Now, would you just mouth as well, Cyril?
Certainly, Nigel. Charmed to be of assistance.
Right, Cyril. Now, once more, gentlemen. Twinny, you start. 1, 2.
Where the bee sucks, there suck I.
Suck.
In a cow's lips, bell I lie. There I count when owls do cry, when owls do cry, when owls do cry.
A Right Royal Rip-Off by Wally K. Daly, with Peter Jones as Charles, Lockwood West as George, Bernard Bresslaw as Bullet Head, Charles Hawtrey as Fingers, and Donald Hewlett as Governor Smith. A Right Royal Rip-Off.
Under the blossom that hangs on the bough,
merrily, merrily shall I live now. Under the blossom that hangs on the bough. Under the blossom that hangs on the bough.
Gentlemen, restrain yourselves. Gentlemen.
And lady, Mrs. Chairperson.
Sorry, Mrs. Sopworth, and lady, of course. Thank you. Now, could you please try to control these outbursts? We are, after all, making decisions that affect the lives and release dates of many of Her Majesty's most recalcitrant prisoners. And I think it essential that this parole board retains its sense of what is and what is not decorous.
Well, Governor Smith started it. Now ask him to explain his disgraceful attitude to the inmates of B Block in general, and to these 2 prisoners in particular.
Certainly I'll explain,
Well,
Mr.
get on
Jones.
with it, then explain.
If only you'd all stop shouting for a moment.
Look, through the chair, Governor Smith.
Sorry, certainly I'll explain through the chair, Mrs. Chairperson.
Well, please do. It's nearly sherry time, and we've still got an awful lot of business to attend to.
Normally I would be the first person to admit that remission earned should be given. The 2 gentlemen in question have certainly earned their remission.
Well, what's all the fuss about then? Let them go.
The fuss, gentlemen, and Mrs. Sopworth, of course.
Thank you.
My pleasure, is about the reaction of the other prisoners to the early release of these 2 particular inmates.
What's that got to do
Now,
with it?
we know they all took part in the great sales day robbery at Harades. £4 million removed in one day.
Yes, but they didn't get away with a penny of it.
That isn't the point, Mr. Thompson. They took it and paid the price. no denying it was the judge's favourite store. He admitted as much in court. And despite being a relatively young judge, at 87 years old, he confessed to still taking tea there at least once a week, if not twice. I admit he was somewhat severe, all the accused receiving 10 years each, except for these two, who, having impeccable records and having worked a lifetime for the Prisoners' Aid and Rehabilitation Society, as well as having met the judge a few times at receptions and things, received only 5 years.
What are you grizzling on about, Governor Smith?
I'm grizzling on, as you so graphically put it, about the fact, Mrs. Sopworth, that if you parole them now, after having served only 3 years of their sentence, and the rest must remain for a further 7 years, there's likely to be a riot in this prison.
Sorry to keep you, Billy.
That's all right. No rush. Got another 7 years to do as it happens. I'm not exactly in any great hurry.
Good. Couldn't pop the kettle on while you're waiting then, could you?
Certainly. Be my pleasure, Charles. My folio case will be all right here, will it?
I'll keep my eye on it.
Ah, fine.
Charles?
Yes, George?
The clay for the pottery group has arrived at the main gate.
Right. The governor will look after that then when he's free.
Good.
How's it going, Warden Wilkes?
Right,
oh, just tip-tapping the last of the classes out now. Towards a greater understanding of policemen and their problems.
Well done. Use the Darjeeling, Billy.
All right. There we are. Done.
Good.
And an impressive list it is as well.
I think it must be the busiest curriculum we've organised yet.
Without a doubt. You don't think you may have laid on a little too much this time? Silk screen printing, Silver Mark Appreciation Society.
If you remember, Warden Wilkes, you had the same reservations about the lapidary class and the art appreciation lectures last term.
So I did. Point taken.
The boys can't get enough. The whole of B Block's a thirst for knowledge and new frontiers, and George and I shall go on providing ever greater challenges to their newfound enthusiasm till the thirst is quenched.
Well, I must be off to the meditation/snooker room. Will you be along to hear the choir rehearsing later?
Well, there's still a few appointments on the book, but we'll try to pop in for a few minutes before they finish.
I see you then. Bye, Charles. Bye, George.
Bye.
Kettle's on.
Many thanks, Billy. Want to show us what you've got in the folio while it's quieting down for a few minutes?
Certainly. Be my pleasure.
George, are you nearly finished there? Billy's brought his latest piece for us to have a look at.
Just marking the last paper.
There we go. What do you think of those two, then?
Wonderful.
Coming.
Am I right? First of all, Picasso. One real and one copy.
Got it in one, Charles. Or rather, in two.
Good Lord. Now, that really is quite amazing, Billy. From over here, you can't see a scrap of difference between them. Oh. Can't see any difference from here, either.
So which one's the real one, Billy?
I have a guess, Charles.
Well, I couldn't be certain, but I'd have a blind guess that that one's the real one and that one's the one you painted.
George?
Well, on principle, I usually allow myself to be guided by Charles in this sort of thing. He was, after all, in intelligence during the war. So that one is the real one, and that one is the forgery.
Copy, George, copy.
Oh, sorry, Billy. Yes, copy. No offence meant.
It's all right, no offence taken. It's all semantics in any case. Copy, forgery, what's the difference?
About 5 years, I should imagine.
Copy it is then. Well, it's time I was off. Many thanks for the interview at such short notice, Charles.
Right.
I was looking forward to your opinion, which I naturally value highly.
Yes, but which one is it?
Which one's what, George?
The real Picasso.
Oh, the real one.
Were we right?
Afraid not.
Oh.
You both picked the phony yet again. Well, I better be getting back to my cell, get this into its frame. Governor Smith said that if I let him have it by this afternoon, he'll get it back to the gallery and see if his friend there will let me have a Lautrec. Perhaps you'd let the governor know it'll be ready soon.
Of course.
Well, I'll be off then. Oh, it looks like the kettle's boiling.
I'll get it. Bye, Billy.
Bye. Bye, Charles.
Goodbye.
You all right? Bit deep in thought.
Yes, just a hint of a worry in my mind, George.
Worry?
Well, thought might be the better way of putting it.
Well, you want to share it?
Yes. How do we know whether it's the real paintings that go back into the frames?
I say, Charles, that's a bit strong.
Is it? I took tea with Billy last week in his cell. The walls are hung from floor to ceiling with unframed Picassos, 2 constables, a fat lady with a hole in the middle by Henry Moore, a Modigliani, a Monet, a Manet. Wall-to-wall paintings, George. You name the master and he's got at least one painting by each. And you know what, George?
What, Charles?
I think they're all the originals.
What?
In fact, being honest, I'm certain of it.
Good Lord. Well, surely we must tell someone. Governor Smith, perhaps.
Certainly not. It's only a misplaced sense of value that puts such a worth on the originals. No, I think leave well alone, George. But I do think best to let Billy know soon that I'm not quite the silly old duffer he's been taking me for these last few months.
Oh, you're not a silly old duffer, Charles. If anyone around here could be called a silly old duffer, it would be me.
Yes. Well, is that the last of this morning's appointments, George? Just check the book, would you?
Certainly, Charles, certainly. We've got to pop along and see how fingers sculpting is coming along.
Good. I shall enjoy that. Ever since Tommy the Telephone's taken to playing his guitar in Finger's cell to help soothe his nerves, it's become quite Arcadian there.
Yes, quite delightful. Apart from that, there's only Bullethead.
Cyril!
Oh, I'm sorry.
Really?
Well, he wants to talk about his English lit examination, I believe.
Well, that shan't take long. So good opportunity to finish making the tea, eh, George?
Oh, indeed. Right off.
I don't know what we're going on about still.
Surely, if you could rethink the matter in even 6 months' time, it would be a help.
Governor Smith, this parole board as a whole has decided.
Absolutely.
And I would be pleased if you would accept our decision without further quibbling. They've served their sentences so far blemish-free. They've earned their remission, and they are to be paroled forthwith. Now, Sherry.
But
Me no but, sir. Forthwith they are to be freed. I, the lady chairperson of this Her Majesty's Parole Board, have spoken.
Oh, well said, lass. You stand up for your rights. Well done.
Come.
It's only me.
Ah, Cyril.
How are you?
Surprisingly well, thank you, considering the inordinate amount of perusing I've had to be a doing of relative to my forthcoming examination on the many mysteries of English literature. I found a great problem at first with Ode on a Grecian Urn, but I think I finally cracked it now.
Oh, good. Well, there we are. Tea's made and brewing.
But how's it going more generally, Cyril? Ready for the exams?
Oh, it's going quite smoothly, thank you. Well,
good.
very smooth indeed. In fact, smooth as monumental alabaster, as a fellow said prior to doing a Jack the Ripper on Desdemona.
Yes, of course.
Being honest, I never thought that education could be such fun. In fact, 'tis like the barber's chair that fits all buttocks.
Beg pardon?
All's well that ends well.
Ah, yes, of course, I suppose it would be, yes.
Shakespeare again, George.
Really? Fits all buttocks.
Apposite, isn't it? Not that I would have known before, never having had any until you got me started on this self-improvement course, that is.
Oh, good. Glad you're enjoying it.
Oh, yeah, lovely. Education's wonderful, isn't it?
Wonderful.
You know, I never could understand when the head of the gang was working out how far a tunnel or get into a bank vault, say, how he could possibly know the distance with just a map to guide him how far to dig like.
Yeah.
But once you've done geography and you learn about episometers, you're home and dry.
What, Cyril?
Episometers, George. You know, the little wheel on a stick for measuring lines on a map.
Oh, yes, of course, episometers. I'd quite forgotten those.
And the things of interest you discover are really amazing. I mean, what are those long white things that Indians have dangling between their legs that they nonchalantly throw over their shoulders called?
Doties.
That's the word, doties. Well, they wear those doties to reflect heat so they don't get too hot round the crutch like.
Oh, how awfully interesting.
Yes, but what is the purpose of your visit today, Cyril? Is there something specific, or did you just pop in to chat over things generally?
Well, there was that thing about the past participle relative to the pronoun, of course.
Ah, yes, of course there was. Well, I honestly think the best thing would be to have a chat with Governor Smith. Grammar's not really my strong point, and he has had to do an awful lot of studying of grammar for his autobiography, so I'm sure he'll be able to answer any queries.
Right, I'll do that.
Anything else?
Well, just about my name again.
Cyril.
And, no, the other one.
Bullethead, you mean?
George.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that one, which I'd rather not say. A few of the chaps still let it slip out, accidentally, I think. I mean, I know a rose by any other name should smell as sweet, but quite frankly, that particular sobriquet gets right up my hooter. And I would like you and George, if you would, to let it be known to everybody what my feelings are about it. Now I'm starting to get some small smattering of education, like, and not unnaturally a more sensitive like nature, like.
Certainly we will.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. You could also drop it into the conversation, subtle like, nothing too obvious or overstated, that the next person I hear calling me that she'll have their legs ripped off and stuffed up their noses.
Yes, stuffed up their
something
noses,
like that. But better than that, if you know what I mean.
Yes, it's similar.
Silken words, a thread with gold, as Shakespeare would probably have said.
Would he?
Probably.
Safe and secure security. Yes, Mr. Perkins speaking. Who? Oh, the Tower of London Chief Security's office. Yes, of course. Yes, I'll certainly hold. The Crown Jewels cleaning contract. Please, let it be yes. Please, let it be yes. Yes, speaking. We have. Oh, that's wonderful news, Colonel, wonderful. No, I do realise how important the job is, and I do appreciate you ringing to let me know personally that the contract is ours. I'm sure that safe and secure security will serve you well. Pardon? Yes, it was a very good cabaret, wasn't it? Delightful little fillies. We must meet there again soon. Yes. Yes, I'll do that. Goodbye. Goodbye, Colonel. Yippee! We've got the Crown Jewels job. We've got the Crown Jewels job. We've got the Crown... Come. Yes, Doreen?
I thought I heard you call, sir. Was there something?
No, it was nothing. Just stubbed my toe. Back to work, Doreen.
Very good, sir.
By the way, it's just been confirmed that Safe and Secure Security has actually won the contract for overseeing the cleaning of the Crown Jewels at the Tower.
Oh, sir, that's wonderful news, Mr. Perkins. Wonderful.
Control, Doreen. Just another job. Nothing to get too excited about. Back to work now, dear.
Oh, by the way, Mr. Cannelloni phoned.
Cannelloni?
That's the one. Said please to call him pronto. Something the matter, Mr. Perkins? Not bad news?
Oh, no, Doreen, not bad news. Now, get me, Mr. Cannelloni. Now, no, wait. Get me my pills first.
I hope you don't mind me saying so, Fingers, but your calves are exquisite.
Not at all, Tommy. Nice of you to mention it.
And those thighs, so smooth, so sensual.
Oh, glad you like them.
And best of all, I think, are your little toes. Perfect little pearls. Each one a minor miracle at the end of a perfect foot.
Oh, you are awful. Make me blush if you go on like that.
No, I mean it. It's fantastic. You take your little thing there in your hand, hit the end of it with a mallet, and voila! Miracles in marble. Half a torso knocked out in no time.
It's only practice. I mean, I feel the same about your guitar playing, Tommy.
Oh,
I've got the nimblest fingers in the world when it comes to safe cracking. Famed for it. But when I see what you can do with yours, well, one quick wiggle and you're plucking up arpeggios out of nowhere. Well, there, you see. It almost puts me to shame.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. It's really all down to discovering your unknown skill and practising it, as George and Charles would say.
Yes, they would.
Oh, it changed my life totally, them getting me my guitar.
Now, Tommy, if you just stop playing for a few minutes.
Oh, certainly.
This is a bit difficult. Needs all my concentration for these last few taps.
Oh, I don't know how you can tap there without wincing.
Just a few more taps.
Ooh.
Da. Silence, please, Tommy.
Sorry.
This is the vital bit.
Fingers! Tommy, disastrous news!
Whoops.
Oh, nasty. Sorry, Fingers, but there's a meeting of all B Block in the meditation/snooker room immediately.
Music, Tommy. Please.
You know, George, sometimes I wake in the middle of the night when the world is peaceful and asleep and I'm comfortable and safe, snug in my bed, and I think, are there any other two elderly gentlemen adrift in this whole world as lucky as we two are? Biscuit?
Ah.
What's brought this on, Charles?
What?
The musing, aren't we lucky, all that business.
I don't know, really. Just thinking, wouldn't it be awful if something came along to spoil it, I suppose?
I shouldn't think so. A bit unlikely. There's enough work here to keep us going for years, yet.
True, but I do feel a strange sense of impending doom this morning.
Who on earth can that be? None of the boys would ever disturb our break.
Awfully sorry to disturb without an appointment.
Governor, what an unexpected pleasure. Come in, come in.
Popped in for a cup of weak Darjeeling. Perfect timing. I'll fetch another cup.
No. Thank you very much, all the same, George. Had something of a shock.
Shock?
Yes, but I'll get to that in a minute.
Turn the gramophone off, George.
How's your day been? Busy?
Fairly average, no great problems. Oh, I did suggest that Bullet Head contacted you with a grammatical problem he's somewhat baffled with.
Oh, fine. Be pleased to help.
And he has now apparently cracked the Grecian urn, by the way.
Oh, that's rather sad. I didn't actually know he had a Grecian urn, being honest.
No, the Ode, by Keats.
The Ode, of course, yes, good. Anything else for me, crop up?
Just remember to collect the Picasso off Billy for return to the gallery.
I think it's a Lautrec he's after next, isn't it?
I believe so. It's very thoughtful of your friend there to be so helpful.
Oh, not at all. Charming man, charming. We've no real connection, you understand. Same prep school, Eton, Oxford, the Guards, MI6, that sort of thing. But nothing special. Every time I see him, I say, who'd have thought old Pumper Pemrose would end up as head of a gallery? And he says, who'd have thought old Stinker Smith would end up as an HM prison governor?
Yes.
But I would, of course, prefer that particular nom de guerre didn't go beyond these four walls.
Oh, but of course not.
Oh, good.
So, he doesn't mind you borrowing them?
No, the exact opposite, in fact. He says the prison atmosphere obviously does them good. They all arrive back looking even fresher and cleaner than when they leave.
Yes.
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 Don't you think you'd better get it off your chest, Gov?
It's bad news, I'm afraid.
Bad news?
You both have to leave.
What?
You have to leave.
You can't mean it. There's so much work still to be done here. The men are just learning to trust us.
I'm sorry. I did my best, but the board was adamant. You are now eligible for parole, and I know you'll be as horrified as I am to hear it, but they are insisting that you are both released.
Good. Oh.
But how on earth would we manage?
It's iniquitous.
I agree. I tried very hard to explain that to them. Then I pretended the others might riot. Then I told them the truth didn't do any good. They pooh-poohed the idea that you might like it here and not want to go.
Like it? We love it. Yes. Never been so happy in our lives. 3 meals a day, plus cocoa at bedtime, comfortable room, place to rest one's head. No worry about what clothes shall I wear today. Helpful guards on every landing attending to one's every need.
Yes.
Not to mention the fact that one never receives any bills.
Personally, that's the best thing I like about prison. No bills.
I know what you mean, George. I had 3 final demands and a rate supplement alongside my lightly boiled egg this very morning.
Good heavens.
One simply can't survive. It's horrendous.
But more important is our work. We've done more to help these boys in the last 3 years inside than we did in our 30 years with Prisoners' Aid and Rehabilitation Society outside. We can't just let it all slip away, Governor. There must be an answer.
Oh, there must be.
I'm afraid not. You will have to leave. However, if by any mischance you should err again, you would have to come back and serve what remained of your sentence, plus whatever additional sentence you received. Not that you would, of course. Totally reformed. In a way, that's part of your problem, really. You're both just too nice. Too jolly nice. Charles, George, we, the entire prison, will miss you. Yes. Well, I'll let the guards know that you're to be allowed to come and go as you please until you finally leave. Give you a chance to get used to the outside world while still having a safe place to come back to, as it were. It's the best I can do, I'm afraid. Sorry.
Charles, this is calamitous. What on earth can we do? What on earth can we do?
Calm yourself, George. Calm yourself. We're not quite as reformed as the governor thinks.
Aren't we?
No, we're not, George. You and I are going to pull off just one more job. A job so big it'll set the whole world talking, make our last little escapade look like peanuts, and will guarantee us, when we're finally caught, prison for the rest of our natural lives.
Well, what do you think, Tommy?
No, there's no chance of an appeal to them working. I checked the recording I made of the parole board meeting, and the whole lot were adamant. George and Charles have to go. That Mrs. Topworth started it.
Of course she would.
But what if they want to be released?
Of course they don't want to be released, would you?
No, but...
Well, there you are, then.
Well...
Listen, Basil, I've got a small bug in the rose Governor Smith is wearing in his lapel this morning, and I happened to catch him breaking the news to George and Charles that they have to leave, like. And I promise you, they were totally aghast.
Oh, well, in that case, what are we going to do about it?
I personally am in something of a quandary. If only I could think of the right person to punch, perhaps that would sort it out. But I can't think whom I should punch.
Violence isn't the answer, Cyril. But I do know what is.
What?
A little riot. It's the only answer. We'll have to have a little riot.
Hello? Yes, Governor Smith speaking. The Daily what? Oh, the Daily... Yes. I've been expecting a call. It's about the Haradi Sales Day robbers release, I suppose. It's not? Oh, what is it about?
Sir, you'll never believe what's happened.
Would you hold a moment, please? Plunkett, how many times do I have to tell you, knock on the door and then wait?
But, sir...
But me no buts, Plunkett. Oh, that's rather good, isn't it? But me no...
Sir, I honestly think...
I am on the telephone. I'm sorry about that. Prisoners. Which part of the prison are they calling from? B block. Oh, no. I'm sorry, there's been some mistake. It's obviously a practical joke. B block would never riot.
Oh, yes, they bleeding would.
Plunkett, I would... What did you say?
I said, oh, yes, they bleeding would. There is a riot in B block at this very moment, sir. They barricaded themselves in the meditation/snooker room and are holding Officer Wilkes as hostage.
Good God, why on earth didn't you tell me, man? This could be just what I need for the last chapter of my autobiography. Come, Plunkett, to B block.
Sir!
Here.
Oh, mamma mia.
That creep from Safe and Secure Security's outside, Mr. Cloney. Shall I send him away?
No, send him in. I was expecting him.
You wish me to wait in case you want him chastised for anything?
No. I sent for him to compliment him. He's been a good boy now. He's organising our little money-laundering factory very well these days. If I have you punch him, he will doubt my sincerity.
Oh.
Now, there will be other creeps to chastise. I, Mr. Cloney, promised.
Oh, very good, Mr. Cloney.
Now tell this creep to come in, OK?
OK. Come in, creep.
Thank you very much.
Ah, Pukins. Good to see you, my friend.
Perkins,
Perkins. With friends, what does it matter?
Friend?
But yes. Did I not invite you to the mansion here?
I was actually a little worried about that, sir.
No, what's with this, sir? Call me Cloney now. We're friends.
Yes, very good. Well, I was a little worried about coming to the family's mansion. You see, Cloney...
Mr. Cloney, you cretin. Don't go getting too familiar with me, you punk. There's a Mr. before my Cloney.
Sorry. Misunderstood. Mr. Cloney, sir.
Okay. Now we're friends again. Oh, don't look so worried. Oh, look at you. Your brows all are spotted with sweat. A little tick under your eye there. See, going twitchy. Your hand all shaky. What's the matter with you, Pukins?
You normally don't like me coming to the mansion, Mr. Cloney. Sir, it's not really safe that I, the head of one of the largest security companies in the country, should visit you. Oh. Not only Machine Gun Cloney's son, but the family's representative in England. And while I know that Safe and Secure Security actually belongs to the family, best nobody else perhaps ties the two things together. Wouldn't you agree?
You question my judgment?
Oh, no. Just thought I'd mention it in passing. And nothing else, just a thought, that's all.
That's good. For today, I like you.
Yeah.
A little.
Yeah.
And I would not like you to spoil that for me. You have made my mama very happy. Oh, thank you, Pukins.
I have. Your mama. I didn't know I'd met Mama Cloney.
Of course you haven't met Buffino. She is a lady. But yes, happy you make her. She called me from Palm Springs. Mama is so proud, she said. Mama is so proud that the family has been chosen over so much competition to guard the Queen's jewel.
The Queen's jewel?
The Tower of London, stupido.
Oh, the new contract.
And when Mama comes over, she says she looks forward to trying them all on. Crowns, tiaras, in fact, all the Queen's hats and all the other stuff that ladylike ladies like.
Yes, but Mr. Colonel, that's impossible.
What?
The security's immense. There are alarms, gas, electric scanning, infrared trip switches, magic eyes, beef eaters.
Enough pukings. You want I should call my uglies to thwack you a little?
No, sir.
So it isn't good. Who do the men who will be guarding the jewels work for?
Safe and secure security.
And who runs safe and secure security?
Well, I do.
And you, Pukins, you ugly cretinous moroso dombino, who owns you? Well, me owns you, me! And if the mama of me wants to try on the Queen's hats when she comes on her visit, then the mama of me shall try on the Queen's hats!
You hear me? Yes, sir. Of course, sir.
Shouldn't be allowed if you ask me, sir.
Plunkett, will you stop mumbling on to yourself? It's very disquieting. Very good of you to help out like this, gentlemen.
Pleased to be of assistance.
Oh, of course, any time.
I went along to the meditation stroke snooker room myself, but they were shouting, hang the governor, with such ferocity, I thought best not pop in unannounced.
I shouldn't worry. Billy was talking about painting your portrait this morning. They were probably agreeing it was a good idea.
I still say it shouldn't be allowed. Prisoners being asked to stop other prisoners rioting ridiculous. Makes a farce of the old system.
It's not a proper riot, Plunkett. More of a demonstration, if you ask me, or even an improvised drama group, come to that.
I still think you should break out the riot guns and go in there shooting. Sir!
We haven't got any riot guns.
Gas canisters?
No gas canisters either. Too much television, that's your trouble.
Better than asking prisoners to stop other prisoners' riots.
Plunkett, if you don't stop whinging on, I'm going to send you straight back to the guardroom and not let you come with us to the riot, demonstration, improvised drama.
You wouldn't?
Oh, yes, I would.
Good Lord, I think you mean it.
I most certainly do. Now, will you be good enough to keep quiet?
All right. But I still
Not
think...
another word, Plunkett, or it's the guardroom.
Ooh!
Right. What do you think, gentlemen? A gentle tap on the door, perhaps?
Good idea, yes. Yes.
Ah, it sounds as though whatever agreement they've come to has met with general approval.
Yes, it does, doesn't it?
Quatch! Somebody's coming out.
Governor, I am the agreed spokesman for the prisoners.
Oh, that's nice.
We have decided unanimously to exchange our hostage for George and Charles.
Very good. Oh, by the way, Cyril, I believe you wanted to have a chat about a grammatical problem.
Oh, yeah, I would. If you'd be so kind as to help. Past participles, principally.
Certainly. Why not pop and see me later on when all this business is sorted out?
Love to. See you then. Thanks, Gov.
My pleasure. Oh, by the way, congratulations on the Grecian urn.
Oh, you've heard? I'm having a shot at his nightingale next.
Well, let's hope you bag it soon.
Hey? Oh, very droll, Governor, very droll. Right, in you come, George and Charles.
Very good. After you, George.
Oh, many thanks.
Excuse me.
Excuse me, Cyril.
Send out the hostage.
Thank you.
Bye, Mr. Wilkes.
Thank you, Cyril.
See you later.
Look forward to that, Cyril. Past participles, eh? All right, Wilkes?
Oh, yes, sir. Fine.
It shouldn't be allowed if you ask me.
Plunkett, enough! But I warned you! To the guardroom! At the double!
I've never known anything like it in my life. In all my years in the service...
Now, Wilkes, tell me exactly what happened, every vivid detail.
All right. Thank you. Gentlemen, it's very good of you to be so caring about George and my well-being, and you're quite right, it is a ghastly thing to happen at our time of life.
Yeah.
But laying siege to the meditation stroke snooker room is, I feel, not really going to help an awful lot.
Well, it's more of a gesture, really, Charles.
Well,
than an
I
actual
appreciate
siege.
that. Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
I mean, once the rot sets in, it could strike anywhere. I mean, who knows which one of us might be picked on for early release. It's very worrying for all of us. Yes.
Now, listen, everyone, please. Charles has a plan.
Well, it's not quite a plan yet, George, but a thought. Namely, one more gigantic job. A job so big that it'll make our last one look like small change and guarantee George and I B block for life.
All by yourself?
Oh, no. We thought you might all like to help us out. Or, more precisely, help us back in.
Yeah, but how? I mean, you're outside, being allowed to come and go as you please until you're released properly, as I heard it on my recording of your conversation with the governor, that is. But we're inside.
Not in 3 weeks' time, you're not.
Oh, the choir outing.
Exactly, Nigel. So if you're all to help, the date of the robbery has, of course, decided itself. February the 14th, day of the choir outing.
But, Charles, what's the job going to be? I mean, it'll take an awful lot to top our last caper.
Yeah. That also has decided itself.
How come?
Well, gentlemen, where is your choir giving its special invitation Valentine's Day concert?
The Tower.
Exactly.
And what of inestimable value is lodged and carefully guarded in the aforementioned edifice?
The crown jewels!
Right again! Gentlemen, George and I would be very grateful indeed if you would all join us in our attempt on the day of the choir outing to remove the aforementioned baubles from the Tower of London.
Julius Caesar's ill-erected tower. How on earth will you do it, Charles?
No idea, Cyril. But George and I will pop over there and have a look round Caesar's erection tomorrow.
Really? That should be fun.
Something's bound to suggest itself. What do you say, George? Day out at the Tower?
Oh, yes, super. Look forward to that. Take a packed lunch, shall we?
Yes, good thinking.
And an episometer, perhaps?
Pardon?
Gentlemen, so nice of you to come at such short notice.
Nice of you to invite us, Colonel.
Yes, indeed.
Up with his head! Up with his head!
Beg pardon, Colonel?
Not me. Damned raven on the window ledge there. Go on, push off, you little black beggar.
A talking raven?
Yes, Mr. De Vere, we've 2 or 3 of them. As it happens, I'd be pleased if you both keep quiet about it. Wouldn't do if it got out. Lower the tone of the whole place, talking ravens indeed. When I find which of the damned beef-eaters is teaching them, I'm going to string him up by his toggles. Yes, well, gentlemen, shall we be seated?
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
I sit down.
Yes, very comfortable.
I'll sit behind my own desk if it's all the same with you, Mr. Perkins.
Yes, sorry.
That's all right.
That's all right. Right, introductions. Mr. De Vere, of Stones of Bond Street, Mr. Perkins of Safe and Secure Security.
How do you do, Mr. Perkins?
Pleased to meet you.
Well, gentlemen, we're breaking new ground here. This is the first year that Mr. De Vere has been in charge of the cleaning, and this will be the first year that we've ever used an outside security firm to oversee the operation. Being honest, Mr. De Vere, no offence intended, I was rather looking forward to seeing old Mr. Coots again.
No offence taken.
Every year for 25 years he's been popping in with his posse of cleaners, polishing up the pearls and pushing off peacefully. I shall miss him. Is he dead?
No, just retired. At 85, he decided to call it a day. Polished himself to a standstill for the royal wedding, apparently.
Sensible chap, then. Funeral will be a splendid affair. Times obit, gun carriage, all that.
I was taken on to replace him at director level. They felt that with my references, my background in the trade, my fine arts degree, plus the fact that I am engaged to Deirdre, the chairman's daughter, I was the perfect candidate for the job.
I suppose they would do, yes. All right, gentlemen, to business. Unless, of course, a quick slosh is called for. Toast to the success of our little venture, as it were.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Right, gin and tonic's all right.
Make one a double! Make one a double!
Faunt, you black monster, away!
Oh, bloody tar! Bloody tar! Bloody tar! Bloody tar!
Get off! Get! Oh dear, I do hope that wasn't a valuable piece.
No, just tourist trash. Sorry about that. Gin and tonic's all right.
Excellent.
Good. Better make them doubles, I imagine.
There.
You know, George, it's 40 years since I've been here, and it hasn't changed a jot.
40?
Yes, during the war. Had a little job to do.
Gosh, what a throng. Never seen so many foreigners gathered together in one place before. Except for one night in a little place in Tangier.
A motley United Nations collection indeed. I should imagine every country is represented. I haven't heard English spoken since we've been queuing here. Still, nearly at the head. I'll give you some money, shall I?
No, it's all right. I'll get them. My treat. Here we go.
I'll wait by the end.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Just to put you both in the picture generally, before we get down to finer points, the Queen's company watch the Crown Jewels, the yeoman warders watch the Queen's own company, the soldiers watch the yeomen, and I watch them all. Until, of course, the week ending the 14th. I'll be your sweetheart. Valentine's Day, that is, when the jewel house is to be closed to the public. The Queen's own company, for the first time in history, goes off to help the Queen create pageantry in Patagonia. Then your cleaners move in to clean the jewels, Mr. De Vere, and Safe and Secure Security move in to keep watch, Mr. Perkins.
Will my men be expected to wear the beef...
No. Just their normal caps and coshes and things will do.
And as I stood steel-eyed at the meditation-snooker-room door, relaxed but ready to spring instantly into action if there was the least danger to the two prisoners, the two elderly prisoners who had so bravely volunteered to... Oh, damn! If it goes on at this rate, I'll be in my grave before this flipping autobiography goes to press. Come!
Only me, Governor.
Oh, Cyril. Pleasure to see you. For one dreadful second, I thought it was going to be that awful Plunkett again. Take a seat.
Thank you. Oh, Plunkett's all right, really, Governor. Underneath, that is. Once you get to know him, like, I wouldn't be surprised he had family problems. A harridan of a wife or unlovable children, perhaps.
Yes, they usually are, aren't they?
But, as Shakespeare said, let's purge this collar without letting blood.
Hamlet?
Richard III. I think he just needs a little love and affection, really, Gov.
Richard III?
No, Plunkett.
Well, it's a very Christian attitude on your part, Cyril, but I must admit I find his whining on all the time very hard to take. Very hard indeed. Being honest, I pray for the day when, as Shakespeare also said, his silence will sit drooping.
Richard III?
Hamlet, just after alas poor Yoricus.
I'll have a little chat to him first opportunity to present itself tomorrow, Governor. See if I can get to the bottom of it.
I'm glad the spot of bother yesterday got itself sorted out.
Wasn't much of a riot as riots go, was it?
No, but it'll make quite a nice chapter for my autobiography.
Oh, good. I'm pleased about that. I was even more pleased yesterday with the realisation that George and Charles perhaps won't be leaving us after all.
Really?
Yeah, but best not to talk about it, of course, Governor, as I wouldn't like any possible suggestion that I might be a grass to soil my name. Shades of Iago, as it were.
Of course not.
But I do think I'm giving nothing away if I simply say that the imminent danger of their release might have been safely sidetracked for a little while, i.e. 20 years.
As long as that? Oh, that's wonderful news, wonderful.
Past participles, perhaps?
Of course.
And though not having taken charge of the operation before, I have, of course, been well briefed by our Mr. Cont.
But of course.
As you know, Colonel, the jewels aren't seated and glued firmly, but in fact lightly clipped in their mounting, so it's no great problem getting them out of the settings ready for dipping in the acid bath for the cleaning. And, of course, to check that no plastic stones have made an appearance since the previous year's cleaning.
Good Lord, just lightly clipped.
Yes, not commonly known that, Mr. Perkins. Can't go gouging them out of gold every time they're cleaned, right?
I mean, isn't there a danger that if the Queen is going along in her carriage on some state occasion, she may sneeze violently and inadvertently scatter all the stones in the crowd?
All the jewels in use are naturally firmly fixed, Mr. Perkins.
Besides which, H.M. does not sneeze on state occasions.
No, of course not. I was forgetting.
By the way, Colonel, there is one small change that I shall be making this year.
Oh, yes, what's that, Mr. De Beer?
Instead of completing the cleaning of the jewels one case at a time and then replacing them, as in previous years, all the jewels from all the cases will be stripped and the gems cleaned together.
Really? A somewhat unusual break with tradition.
We have been requested on the highest authority to have a total weight and present-day market value put on the whole collection. As soon as the last stone has been removed, I shall make the valuation myself, and naturally needing complete quiet while making the assessment, I will do it after the cleaners have left.
And on whose authority is this taking place?
The highest.
You mean?
Yes. I will naturally have the necessary documentation prepared and signed by the authority concerned, and will expect cooperation from both your good selves in keeping the matter secret.
Secret?
Totally. Gentlemen, I may be walking very close to the bounds of what I'm allowed to tell you of this matter, so let it suffice to say that the higher authority concerned may, in a very unusual manner, be about to clear the national debt once and for all.
George, this must be the Traitor's Gate right here.
Yes, so it must be. Leastways, that's what it says on the plaque there.
Really? Oh, so it does. Well, that's got that sorted out. At least we know where we are. Good Lord, George. Look who's just come out of the maze of that tower thing.
Where?
50 yards down to the left.
I can't see. Oh, yes, I've got them.
Good Lord, they're coming this way. Quick, behind the map. Don't let them see us.
Well, I'd be blowed. What on earth is Perky Perkins doing here?
Never mind Perky. Didn't you see who the other one was? The one the Colonel chap it was calling De Vere.
No.
It was Brian.
Brian? Brian who?
Brian Thompson.
Sorry, Charles, it doesn't ring a bell.
Who was our personnel officer on the Haradi's job, who got all our men working in the store, who damn well double-crossed us, who got off scot-free while the rest of us ended up in B Block.
You mean Brian?
Exactly. The man that officer kept calling Mr. De Vere is Brian Thompson, con man extraordinaire. Come on, let's follow them.
Yes.
Hear what they're saying.
Yes.
Fingers?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hope you don't mind me saying this.
What's that, Tommy?
Well, I think you're making her right one just a sort of fraction higher than her left one.
Now, no chat for a moment, Tommy.
Oh.
This is quite a delicate bit.
Yeah, I suppose it will be. Oi! Careful, fingers.
Oh, damn. That's the third nipple I've had off this morning. I'm sorry, Tommy. Did it get you?
Well, no, it just missed.
Oh, play something soothing. I need my nerves calming.
I wonder how George and Charles are making out.
They'll work something out. Good chaps, both of them.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be funny doing a job without worrying about getting caught and ending up in Nick. Because we're already in Nick.
Yeah.
Well, I hope they need me to open the strong room doors for them.
Oh, a bit of a challenge, like, eh?
No, piece of cake. But I could make it look good. Touch a sweat on my brow as I put my ear to the cold steel door, listening to the tumblers click. Everyone standing around with bated breath, knowing that without my skill, the whole caper crumbles, even though I already know the combination as it happens.
You do?
Yes, common knowledge. Queen's birthday, 21st of April, 1926, which equals 2141926. Plus the last digit, which changes depending how many corgis she's got.
Well, I never.
Easy when you know how, Tommy. Oh, no. There's practice underway already. Come on, Tommy, let's be off.
Yeah, but we're only mouthing
now.
now.
That is not the point. You know what a temperament Nigel's developed since he's been in charge of the choir. Any absenteeism, even among we mouthers, and he'll drop us from the trip to the tower as quick as a flash.
Move along now, ladies and gents. Keep moving.
Oh, it's no good, Charles. Get in nearer to them and they'll spot us.
Dash. Now we'll never know what they're up to.
Now here's an interesting thing.
Guard, you made me start.
Start, you say? You nearly finished me.
I've been watching you two gentlemen and find it quite fascinating. Here's people paying fortunes to come from all over the world to look at the crown jewels, I say to myself, and these two gentlemen arrive at the jewel house and look at the people. Why, I ask myself, why? So, here I am. Tell me, gentlemen, why do you look with such interest at the people rather than at the baubles on display?
Well, we thought we'd recognise the chaps with that military-looking fellow over there, as it happens. But it's not the people we thought. I don't think.
Oh, as mundane as that?
Afraid so.
Oh, pity that. I had hoped it might be something slightly more original. If not professional people watchers or pickpockets, perhaps persons perusing the place prior to pulling off the perfect robbery of the crown jewels, trying to suss out where the alarms were, things like that.
What an amusing idea.
Not that it would do you any good, of course.
Really?
Oh, yes, it's impossible. I've been here 5 years now and I've never worked out how to do it.
You've spent some time thinking about it.
But of course, never stop. Favourite hobby of all of us. Every guard in the place is constantly turning it over in their minds, but it's just not on, I'm afraid.
Those gigantic safe-like doors at the entrance are the problem, I suppose.
Oh, no. Oh, that's probably the easiest part. They never let us catch sight of the combination when they open them, but I reckon it'll be 2141926.
The Queen's birthday?
That's the one. Plus the number of her corgis as the last digit, I should imagine.
Good Lord. How surprising.
No, just common sense, really. After all, in the final analysis, it is her clobber.
I suppose it is, yes.
No, it's getting past the soldiers to the safe door that's the main problem. And then, when you've got it open, your troubles really start. Scratch your nose, blink anywhere near the jewel cases, and there's alarm bells ringing all over the tower.
Oh, difficult.
Impossible. The only chance would have been in the middle of the month, and the rotters are sending us lot off to Patagonia creating pageantry with the Queen, so that's out.
Why in the middle of the month exactly?
Well, that's when the Queen's going.
No, you said that was the best possible chance.
Oh, well, just between you and I, as you look honest enough to share a little secret with, they take the stones out for cleaning then.
Really?
The smooth-looking geezer who you thought you recognised is from the cleaning company that does the job, and the ferrety-looking one beside him is from the security company that takes over the guarding of the place while we're away.
I can't see how it's easier having all the stones out.
Well, it's obvious, isn't it? You'd need a truck to take this lot away, wouldn't you? But all you'd need for just the stones would be a decent-sized carrier bag. And that's where all the value is, in the stones.
So beautifully hot in here.
I thought this is the way you like it best.
Oh, it is. Fantastic. Love it. The only way to make the cares drift away.
Relaxed now.
Totally.
Would you like me to give you a nice, gentle beating, darling?
No, I'm still tingling from the last one.
How about pouring a little more cold water on? I love to see the steam rising from it.
No, I just want to lie back and relax and not think about anything.
Me too. Brian? I think having the sauna put in was the best suggestion you've ever made for my flat.
Plus the stereo.
Plus the stereo. Brian? Is everything going to be all right?
Yes, everything's going to be perfect.
But supposing Daddy and the rest of the board find out what you're up to?
Nobody is going to find out what I'm up to. I've matched every gem perfectly. My replacement stones can't be told from the real thing except by the experts. They'll go into the settings the day after the 14th, and nobody will know that they're imitations and that the real ones have been stolen until the following year, when they're dropped in the acid for cleaning again and just melt away. By which time you and I, my little darling, will be married and the world away.
You know Daddy will cut me off from the family fortune without a penny if he finds I'm involved.
He won't find out. Nobody will. In 1 year, anybody could have stolen the stones. Besides which, if he did cut you off, we'd be able to buy the firm 100 times over to make up for it.
Let's hope that won't be necessary.
I promise you it won't. It's foolproof. There is only one small fly in the ointment.
What's that?
When I was at the Tower today, in the jewel house as it happens, I looked up and saw 2 old boys watching me. And I could swear I knew them from somewhere.
Really?
But I can't for the life of me remember where.
But to me, no more buts! Mama is coming over on the 14th, St. Valentine's Day, the anniversary of a small family achievement, and wishes to see and feel the crown jewel, so she will see and feel the crown jewel.
It's impossible, Mr. Coloni.
No! Not only is he stupido, he is deaf. I say Mama is seeing the jewel, he says she isn't. Who is the idiot here?
He's Mr. Coloni.
Well, why are you just standing there? What do you think I pay you for? Slap him.
Oh, sorry, boss. Wasn't thinking.
I said slap him, not so hard. It's my property you're damaging.
Sorry, boss.
Right, the pukins. Let's start again. Pardon?
I said yes, sir.
Good. A good start. Now, you drive a security van belonging to the firm and to the tower every day, yes?
Yes.
The day of the 14th, in the van, is me, Coloni.
But...
Wait till I tell you. You started to think for yourself or something stupid like that?
Sorry, boss.
In a moment, perhaps. Okay, pukins. Listen good. Safe in the van is me, Coloni. Also in the van is my mama. We are both wearing a beefeater's costumes, eh? My tailor in Savile Row is already making them up. Mama's he makes a fur line because she feels the English cold winds. When all of the jewel cleaners and all of your men have gone, you get us out of the van. We go into the vault, open it up. No problem with the combination. Except we've got to know how many corgi dogs the Queen's got at the moment. And Mama, she holds the crown the jewel, tries the things on. And then we all come back here for one of her spaghettis.
But, Mr. Coloni, there's soldiers on guard.
How many?
2 on each entrance, plus patrols.
No problem. Stand the guns. Knock him out for half an hour. No harm done, eh?
Yes, Mr. Coloni.
One more bat. Well, just one more bat, and I will break pieces off you and hit you with them.
Are you all sitting comfortably?
Yes, Charles.
Then I'll begin.
Isn't this exciting? You know, I think I could really get to enjoy robberies.
George.
Sorry, Charles.
Well, gentlemen, our trip to the Tower was supremely satisfying.
Supremely.
You've got a plan.
Indeed we have, Tommy.
Indeed we have.
You've started repeating everything I say again, George.
Sorry, Charles.
Glancing idly through the guidebook, we noticed to our surprise that there's only one building in the whole of the Tower where it states that you must not go inside without an accompanying guide.
Oh, which one's that, Charles?
The Chapel Royal of St. Peter ad Vincula.
It's Vincula.
Thank you, sir.
That's the one, next to the jewel house. And we asked ourselves the obvious question...
Why? Exactly, why? And I realised I already knew the answer.
What?
I had known the answer for over 40 years, ever since the Second World War, in fact. It just hadn't struck me before. Remember, George?
But Charles, what if somebody catches us in here unaccompanied?
It does say very clearly in the booklet that it's not allowed.
Couple of doddery old duffers like us, George, obviously innocently lost our way. Which way would you say the jewel house was?
Well, now, let me see. I'd say in that direction.
You're probably right. Right. Let's gently wander over there, shall we?
Yeah. Oh, beautiful tapestry work around the altar.
Yes, delightful.
That's probably why they have to have a guide. Keep the vandals in check.
You could be right, George. You could be right. But there again, you could be wrong. So this wall would be the nearest to the jewel house, you feel?
Yes. Why do you ask?
Because if there was to be a tunnel, this is the wall it would have to go under.
What? A tunnel?
Yes, George, a tunnel. The one thing about being in intelligence is always store away and remember that which surprises you. Never know when it may come in useful.
Surprises?
At one point during the war, there was a distinct possibility that the tower might become the government's final boat hole. A team of us were asked to do a feasibility study and report back. My job was to check all existing plans.
Good heavens.
Well, the boat hole idea finally came to nothing. Hitler backed off. But the thing I remembered about my bit of the research was, in the earliest plans, going back to the misty edges of history, the place was always shown to be a veritable warren of underground tunnels. And the later plans showed no tunnels at all. For some reason, someone had decided all knowledge of the tunnels should be hidden.
But why?
I can't be sure, but it was around the time of the gunpowder plot that they disappeared from the drawings, so it could be something to do with that.
You mean the secret tunnels could still be here?
I'm sure of it. The difficulty is going to be finding the entrance to them. Could be anywhere. Secret panels in organ pipes. A statue that slides aside. Anywhere.
Knobbles to be pressed on stony walls?
No, not knobbles to be pressed on stony walls, George. This isn't Enid Blyton we're talking about here. It's some giant of medieval ingenuity. Something much more subtle than a knobble on a wall is called for.
Well, they might have used a knobble.
No, George.
I must confess, I always had a longing to find a knobble that made, for instance, a bookcase slide aside in some large country mansion.
There is no bookcase to slide aside, and this is not a large country mansion, George. It's a chapel in the Tower of London, and nobody in their right mind would use a knobble to reveal its greatest secret. A sliding coffin, yes. A knobble, no.
Well, there are, you've got to admit, some lovely knobbles on this wall here in front of us. Surely it wouldn't harm to try a few of those.
George!
Well, just two, then.
It's a waste of precious time.
This one here, perhaps. No, nothing.
Could we get on?
This one, then. Oh, no. You're obviously right, Charles. Silly idea on my part. Novels, indeed. I shan't press any more. Charles! Charles! Charles, where on earth are you?
My hunch about there still being tunnels was amply rewarded, though my shins were somewhat bruised while I was being proved right.
You mean?
Yes, one of the large flagstones on the chapel floor is counterweighted, operated by an almost invisible protuberation in the brickwork.
A what?
A protuberation. You know, something sticking out.
Oh, something sticking out, you mean a knobble like?
That's the word, Fingers, a knobble. Perfect.
For want of a better word, a knobble. And by a 1,000,000-to-1 shot, George, within seconds, had found which knobble, or protuberation, operated the counterweight.
Oh, just luck, really.
And by another 1,000,000-to-1 shot, I was standing on the flagstone as it disappeared from under my feet, plunging me headlong into the blackness below. After George joined me by less precipitous methods, we discovered how to operate the door from the inside. Next, we went exploring.
I think the torch is going to give out any minute, Charles. We'd better follow the trail of wool that you've unravelled from your cardi back to the chapel and...
Shush!
Pardon?
I said shush!
Oh, all right.
Listen. What do you hear?
Well, nothing apart from the odd drip of water, and you saying listen, that is, and shush, of course.
Listen harder. Hear it?
Yes, I do.
And where have you heard that before?
The jewel house.
Correct. Quickly, George. This way. And there we were, looking through a small chink straight into the jewel house.
People dashing round and round in circles, trying desperately to take everything in, while we had a perfect view. without even paying.
Was it another flagstone, like?
No, a section of the wall this time.
Oh.
We spotted the way to open it, but it had been sealed round with some ancient sort of concrete. That'll be your job, Fingers.
My little tool will wheedle that out in no time.
We do, in fact, have some jobs that must be put in hand immediately. Basil?
Yes, Charles?
Lapidary is your speciality, isn't it?
Why, aye, and flower arranging, of course.
Chapel looked charming on Sunday, Basil.
You're too kind.
Oh, your use of chrysanthemums was really
But it
wonderful.
was your skill in lapidary we need for this job, Basil. We need a whole set of imitation jewellery by 14th of February.
Settings as well?
No, just the jewels.
Well, making them should be no problem. I'll get the rest of the class to help us. But getting the designs together, no, that is a difficulty.
That's where Billy comes in.
Me?
Yes, I have a book on the crown jewels and a breakdown of the gems they contain. You'll have to paint drawings of each of them, scale them up to the right size, and let Basil have them as quickly as possible.
No problem. I do have my Lautrec underway, but naturally that can wait.
Yeah, that's all very artistic skin, but what's the actual plan now?
George, would you like to divulge this? My voice is getting rather hoarse.
Certainly. The plan is that as the choir stands up to leave the chapel, 8 will remain hiding under their pews.
Would that be us, George?
Exactly, Cyril. Very astute. 2 will get dressed as beefeaters
Oh, yeah.
and remain on guard in the chapel.
That will be Twinny and yourself, Winston. You always perform so well with the drama group, and some acting may be required.
The rest of us will go into the secret tunnel, and as soon as the workmen finish in the jewel house for the day and the safe doors slam shut, Fingers will chip away the concrete around our secret door, then we'll all dash in and swap our imitation jewels for those that have been cleaned.
Then we all dash back to our tunnel entrance, slam our secret door shut behind us, back to the chapel, and hide under the pews awaiting the return of the choir. Twinny and Winston will lose their costumes during the service of Thanksgiving, and we'll all board the bus with the rest, back home to B Block.
How can you possibly get 2 beefeater costume for Twinny and me?
We've already got them and stored them away safe in the tunnel.
We found the beefeaters' restroom, borrowed 2 of them. The costumes, that is, not the beefeaters.
Wait a minute. How do you intend to get the jewels out?
Leave that to George and me, please. There will, after all, be no traditional share-out, and it's posterity we're after, not profit.
Fine, baby, fine. Okay.
Well, gentlemen, if there's no more questions, to work. Then in no time at all, we'll be heading for the tower. And history.
All right, driver, we're ready to go.
Please let me come, Governor Smith, please. I promise to be good from now on.
No, I gave you my final warning yesterday, Plunkett. Any trouble, no trip.
But, Governor...
It was the last straw. You wanted to examine everyone's little picnic carrier bags before they got into the bus. Thank goodness Charles warned me what you were up to in time, and I could stop it before it started.
I promise to try to be cheery. If you'll let me come, I'll try to smile, perhaps. I won't be a wet blanket, sir.
I'm not a mean man, Plunkett. I shall put it to the vote. Gentlemen, could I have your attention, please? I have something I wish to put to the vote. Guards and guests, should Warden Plunkett be allowed to come on our outing to the tower?
No!
Prisoners, should Warden Plunkett be allowed to come on our outing to the tower?
No!
There you are, Plunkett. Unanimous. Back to the guardroom.
Not quite unanimous, Governor.
Cyril?
If you would graciously allow me a couple of minutes of your time, gentlemen. I'd like to address a few words to you regarding the essential need in modern society of humanity to our fellow man in general and towards Warden Plunkett in particular.
Mr. de Vere.
Ah, Colonel. Good to see you again.
How's it going?
Very smoothly. We should have the last of the stones out and cleaned within the hour.
Jolly good.
I let my chaps go off then, and if you could be in attendance after that, I'll get down to the valuation.
Well, as you know, we've got this Valentine's Day concert thing on the green, plus a short service before and after, but if you get a message to me, I'll slip away and come straight over.
Fine. I'll send one of my men.
No. Best ask Perkins. Frankly, he doesn't seem to be doing anything of any great import. Where is he, by the way?
I just popped out to his security van. Said he's got to check something.
Yeah. Must have a word with him about that van of his. It's not really on, parking it so near the front of the entrance of the jewel house like that. Trouble with these damn security van things is that nobody ever questions their right to be anywhere. Could be full to the gills with terrorists. You can't even get the doors open to check them.
Yes, you're right. Interesting thought.
And as finally, he walks slow up the long, lonely and dusty road that leads to an inevitable final confrontation with that one great governor in the sky. Sans cap, Sends whistle, sends truncheon, sends everything. Let Warden Plunkett have to clutch to himself the memory of how his fellow comrades, though loathing him to a man, forgave him for being himself, and let him go with them on their out into the tower. Gentlemen, I rest my case.
Very moving indeed. You've got a true champion in Cyril Plunkett. You're a very lucky man.
I know.
Gentlemen, I ask once more, should Officer Plunkett be allowed to come on our trip to the tower?
Yes!
So where have you been, you bum? For hours now, Mama and I have been stifled up in here, like the conchaste de macaron.
I've just popped back to tell you it'll be a little while longer, I'm afraid.
Longer? How longer?
Not too long.
Well, how long is not too long?
About an hour.
Okay. An hour we can take. Yes, Mama?
Good. Now, the last of the jewels will be cleaned soon. Then I stand by with the Colonel while evaluation is made by Mr. De Vere. Then I'll come
Hey, Pequeno, spare me the details. Just get back before the hour's out. Then we leap out. Deal with the soldiers. Stun. Take the Mama. But in an hour. Pukins, an hour.
Yes, sir.
And puke.
Yes, Mr. Coloni.
Shut the door. You're putting the Mama in a draft.
Yes, Mr. Coloni. I'm sorry, Mama Coloni.
Mamma mia! What is that? That ugly black biggy thing that slept in.
Hello. Who's a pretty girl? Who's a pretty girl?
Oh, Mamma mia!
And as the Lord so surely giveth, he has assuredly taketh away.
He has a point there, you know.
George!
Sorry, Charles.
Amen.
Amen.
Right, gentlemen. And ladies, of course, if you would like to follow me, I shall lead you in procession to Tower Green at the pleasure of our charming little concert.
Now, Charles. Yes, now. Go. Under the pew.
Good up, lads. Are we all ready? Now come along, please. Right in the way. Right, you guys like to come this way.
We did it. By George, we did it, Charles.
Is everybody here? Basil, Tommy, Twiddly Fingers, Winston, Billy?
Yes.
Here. Where's Bullethead? Hey, Cyril! Where are you, Cyril? Everybody down.
Awfully sorry, Charles. I forgot to stay behind when everybody else left.
35, 36, 37,
Plunkett.
38, 39,
Plunkett.
40. Yes, sir.
What are you doing, man?
Counting the prisoners, sir. 41, 42.
Counted? But what on earth for? We already know how many prisoners we have.
Just to see if any are missing, like.
Plunkett.
Yes, sir.
You are here under sufferance.
45.
Will you stop at this instant? You're in danger of making me very cross indeed. Do you want Cyril to learn about this?
No, sir. Sorry. Sir.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Give us a gander through the old George.
Certainly, Tommy.
What's going on now, Tommy?
Well, all the blokes seem to be packing up and getting ready to leave, except the two geezers who seem to be in charge, who are just chatting by the door. You want to have a look, Billy?
Yes, all right.
How long do you think we've got, Charles?
Well, as soon as they leave the vault, we'll go in.
No, I mean before the choir and the guests return to the chapel.
Well, it's hard to say, but as soon as there's any sign of anyone approaching, Winston or Twinny will pop down to warn us.
Yeah, the last two chaps are moving out. Yes, they've gone. Vault doors are starting to close. They've closed.
Right, Fingers, off you go with your chisel and mallet, so we can get our own private door open and get in there.
Right. It's going to be very strange chipping away without you playing your guitar, Tommy.
Oh, just do the best you can, Fingers. If it becomes too difficult, I'll hum a bit.
The bee sucks their suck eye. Suck. In a cowslip's bell I lie. There I count when owls do cry, when owls do cry, when owls do cry.
On a bat's back I do fly.
I do fly after summer merrily. After summer merrily. Merrily shall I live now, under the blossom that hangs on the bough.
Merrily shall I live now, under the blossom that hangs on the bough. under the blossom that hangs on the bough.
Suck,
Right. That's the last of the concrete chipped away.
Good. All I have to do now is press here, and the door will... Dash, it's stuck.
Oh. Shall I have a go, Charles?
Certainly.
Oh, it's no good, it won't budge.
Must be jammed solid.
If you'd be kind enough to line my head up with the centre of the door.
Good idea. Right there. OK, all clear now, Cyril.
Yeah, and your head's lined up perfectly.
Good. George!
Quiet!
George! Again. Oh, there we are. Just a little bit stiff, that's all.
Quick, in we go. Cyril, you can open your eyes now.
Oh, thanks.
Hold the back of the vault door over there in case anyone tries to come in.
Be delighted, Charles.
The rest of us must match up the imitations in our carrier bags with the real ones laid out as quickly as possible.
Right.
And whatever you do, don't get the two of them mixed up and don't touch the central section. Every alarm in the place will go off immediately. Right, in we go.
Delightful concert, delightful. Pity you had to call me away. My old school jump stinkers certainly got a good bunch of choruses together.
Yes, sounds charming, drifting across the green, with the ravens cawing in the background.
What? You didn't hear any of them swearing by any chance, did you?
No, can't say I did.
Oh, good. Some of them are getting quite vile. Mr. De Vere?
Yes?
Mr. Perkins? Well, gentlemen, if you'd both be good enough to move off, turn your backs, I'll dial in the combination to open the vault door.
Oh, certainly.
Right. 2, 1, 4, 1, 9, 2, 6, 7. Well, I never. Well, I've dialed the number and it isn't opening.
Strange.
Very.
There hasn't by any chance been an extra corgi born recently, has there?
No, they would have told me. I tell you what, I'll try dialing it again, more carefully. Turn your backs again, gentlemen, please. 2, 1, 4, 1, 9, 2, 6, 7.
Somebody trying to open the vault door, Charles.
Hold on, Cyril, we're nearly there. Hurry up, Tommy. All down, into the passage, Tommy. Fingers.
And spot that pretty one there, or that pretty one there. Finished.
They're pulling again. Only harder this time. There's obviously more than one of them.
Hang on. Only a few more stones to match up myself. Finish, Charles. Right, away you go. No, George, take your carriage bag with you.
Sorry, Charles.
Right, that's me finished as well, Cyril. Okay, Cyril, you can let go of the door any time you choose and make a dash over here.
Very good, Charles.
Right, gentlemen. Just one last heave should probably do it. I think I felt it shifting. Right. Now, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, Mr. Perkins! Are you all right, Mr. Perkins? Oh, that's a damn heavy door for anyone to get caught behind, Mr. De Vere.
It most certainly is. That he squashed poor Perkins flat. Look, slap his face.
What?
Bring him round.
Oh, right.
Ah, appears to be working.
Oh, good. No harm done then, Mr. Perkins.
Well done, Cyril. Keep your eye on the spy hole, Fingers. Right. Well, George, you know what's next.
Transfer all the stones to one carrier bag.
Good fella. Pass the bags to George, chaps.
Right.
What's going on, Fingers?
3 blokes have burst in. 2 of them are supporting the third one. Blimey, you'll never believe this, fellas. One of them is that Brian Thompson from the Haradi's job.
Yes, we know. Sorry, I forgot to mention it. He's calling himself De Vere at the moment. Can't wait to find out what he's up to.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Sir. Sir.
Yes, Blunkey, what is it now? I'm trying to listen to the concert.
It's Bullethead.
You mean Cyril?
Yes.
What about him?
He's not in his place in the choir, sir.
Kit, you're not starting again with your paranoid suspicions, are you?
No, it's not that. I just thought he might have nodded off during the service and still be in the chapel like.
You could be right. I did find it rather soporific myself.
And him being so nice to me on the coach and all, I'd hate him to miss the concert, sir.
Thoughtful of you, Plunkett. You're a changed man.
Yes, sir.
Right, pop along over and check. You could also see if George and Charles are there as well. I can't see them either.
Ah, very good, sir. I'll check them as well.
And I'll also check on the other fine bastards who've gone missing.
Right, that's all the jewels into the one carrier bag, Charles.
Good chap. Off you go and hide them in the chosen spot, and whatever you do, don't let anybody see you.
Right.
Would you like me to accompany you, George, as a bodyguard, like?
No, it's all right. Thanks all the same, Cyril. Back in no time. By George, it's heavy.
Charles, that Brian Thompson bloke has left the other two, and he's coming over towards the gym. What? He's kneeling down by them. Now he's got his back to the others.
Let me take your place, would you, Fingers?
Certainly. Oh, I've been looking so long I'm in danger of getting a bad case of housemaid's eye.
Some sort of scales he's got.
If he weighs them, he's bound to realise that they're phony.
No, he's not weighing them. I don't believe it. He's swapping them. He's swapping our imitations for others that he's taking from the false bottom of his scales.
Oh, big Lord, all the trouble I went to make them imitations, and they end up getting nicked within minutes and being replaced by some other bloke's imitations.
Charles!
What on earth?
Sounds like George.
Can't have hidden the stuff already, can he?
Oh, Charles! Catastrophe!
Control, George, control!
Winston and Twinny, they're carrying someone along the passageway.
Carrying? Who?
He fell down the hole in the chapel floor, knocked himself unconscious.
Who, George, who?
Officer Plunkett.
What?
Yes, unconscious. Officer Plunkett is now in the tunnel with us.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. After that solo from Gilbert and Sullivan's Yeoman of the Guard, for the last number in our little concert, we would like to perform, appropriately, with our head tucked underneath her arm.
With the red tucked underneath her arm, she walks the bloody tower.
Ah, there you are, Pongo. Just made it for the grand finale.
Yes, didn't take long. Damn clever, these valuer chappies. Only takes a few minutes to work it all out. And now he'll be off like the clappers to the palace, I should imagine, to let them have the final assessment.
Palace, good heavens.
Did I say P-A-L-A-C? Great Scott, so I did. State secret stuff, stinker. Not to be revealed on pain of death. Pop into my office after for a quick snifter, and I'll let you in on the story then.
Right, shall do, Pongo. It'll be my pleasure. Being honest, I need a drink. While you were away, a raven landed on your chair, and you won't believe this, Pongo. It sounded exactly as though it was talking. Very strange.
What did he say?
Oh, just a string of numbers. Sounded like total gibberish. 2141926 or something. Oh, yes, and then it said, don't forget the corgis. Don't forget the corgis. Strange.
I'll kill that bird. Kill it!
Well, what are we going to do with him?
A very good question, Fingers. Not quite sure of the answer yet, mind.
But we do the right thing bringing him along the tunnel here to you, didn't we, Charles?
You most certainly did, Winston. But Fingers right. We must come to a decision. Gentlemen, as I see it, there are only three options open to us. One, take him back upstairs with us and have our whole plan revealed too soon.
No.
Two, leave him down here where, not knowing the way out, he'll finally die of starvation.
That's a good idea.
And three, our third and final option.
But, Mr. Coloni, the soldiers looked as though they were dead. How many times do I have to tell you? Stunned pupils, already startling. I use the quick knocker after stunning. Yes, okay. Now take Mama's other arm. She's not at the good on stairs.
I'm sure one isn't really allowed to take ravens into the jewel house, Mr. Coloni.
Well,
I can do anything. I can do anything.
he is my Mama's new friend. He wants to sit on her shoulder and come for walkies. It's okay by me if it's okay by her. That's right, Mama.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
You see? He understands every sound she makes.
How far? How far?
Nearly there, Mama. The steel door at the bottom leads straight to the jewel.
Take some more wheat, Pukins. You'll hardly help it.
She's rather...
Rather what? Rather what? Rather what, Pukins?
Nothing, Mr. Clooney. Nothing. I've just not been getting very much exercise lately. Bit out of condition, perhaps. You see, Mama, he didn't mean it nothing. You're as light as one of your little fairy cakes. Okay.
Who's a pretty girl? Who's a pretty girl?
Right. All in favour of the last option?
Aye.
Good. Unanimous. George, would
Hang
you...
on.
What is it, Fingers?
The whole door's opening again.
Oh, no.
It's like bleeding Piccadilly Circus in there. There's two beefeaters this time, and they got a raven with them. Oh, one of them's absolutely gigantic with a large bristly moustache. And that security bloke Perkins has just squeezed in as well. Oh, he looks totally knackered, poor boy.
Yeah, let's have a gander, Fingers. Hey, that's no beefeater.
That's a spaghetti eater. It's Coloni.
What?
The Coloni?
Machine gun Coloni, son.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, no.
Mind you, I don't know who the gigantic one with the moustache and the raven on his shoulder is.
Makes no difference. Gentlemen, having made our decision, now is the time to carry it out. We must throw Plunkett through our secret door and leave him locked up safely in the jewel room.
I believe he's coming round, Charles.
Right, well, take his head out of your lap and stand him on his feet, sir.
Oh, seems a shame, really. He's just like a little baby. Upsy daisy. There we are. Who's the big boy standing all by himself?
Where am I? Open the door to the vault, George. Right, lads.
Put me down. Put me down.
Hush! Now, gentlemen. Yes. Double fast. Back to the chapel.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Who the hell is that staggering around over there, puking?
I've simply got no idea, Mr. Coloni.
A ghost, a ghost.
No, Mama, don't worry, he's not a ghost. Though if you'd like me to, I'll make you one for frightening you like this. Oh, you're too kind, Mama, that is your trouble.
But where on earth did he come from?
Looks as though he is walking in his bye-bye, staggering like the drunk on a bum.
Yes, well, as long as he doesn't clutch at the centre section for support. Oh, no, it's too late. He's going to fall right onto it.
Bloody jar, bloody jar. Oh.
And then, while attending an outing with the wonderfully mellifluous B-Block Choir, a most amazing series of incidents occurred at the Tower of London. Oh, damn. My last chapter as well. Come.
You sent for us, Governor?
Oh, yes, so I did. Come in, take a seat, will you, gentlemen?
Oh, that's kind of you.
A bit of a day yesterday.
Interesting.
Seen the headlines?
No. Well, glanced at them in passing.
Yes, I did the same, really. A quick glance, no more.
Yeah, in passing.
Interesting that De Vere person at the Tower wasn't De Vere at all.
Yes.
Her real name was Brian Thompson, apparently. According to the paper I glanced at, police had been looking for him for some time.
Yes. The paper I glanced at said the soldiers caught him red-handed at the gate when the alarms went. Jewels hidden all over him. Was that right, Governor Smith?
Yes.
I know.
The trouble is, turned out they weren't the real jewels at all, but just fantastically good imitations.
Amazing.
But perhaps not half as amazing as the fact that the two beefeaters they found locked in the jewel house, along with our poor old Plunkett and a rather bemused raven, weren't beefeaters at all. According to the paper I happened to glance at, that is.
Gangsters, perhaps.
Don't be silly, George.
And George is right, as it happens. Well, one of them, that is. The other was the mother. His mother, the gangster's mother, that is.
Gosh. The security chap, Perkins, that they mentioned, was in there with them, all part of it as well, perhaps.
Apparently.
They usually are.
Arranged to get him in, along with the raven, apparently.
And Plunkett?
Well, what can one say about poor old Plunkett?
Oh, poor old Plunkett, yeah.
Says he doesn't know how he got into the vault in the first place. Delusions about seeing B-Block prisoners turning into beefeaters, carried along underground tunnels, half-conscious. It's very sad indeed.
Yes,
Though it is, of course, a blessing he won't be back here for some while.
Yes, wonderful.
And tragic.
And no sign of the real jewels anywhere.
Strange.
Sad.
Did you hear about the reward that's being offered?
No.
Oh, can't say that I did.
£2 million.
Really?
Good Lord.
So I rang the police today and told them that two of my prisoners, Charles Forbes and George Evans, were claiming the reward.
Pardon?
And then I told them where the jewels were hidden.
What?
Yes. Seemed the least I could do, especially as it appeared that Pongo's head might roll, particularly after you'd been so helpful over our outing. Petrol tank of the security van, wasn't it?
Good Lord. How on earth did you guess?
I missed your company at the concert. Guessed you'd been up to something. Everyone thoroughly searched on the way out and no jewels. Amazing. So I picked the most unlikely place possible. That most conveniently parked security van and its petrol tank.
Well, I never. How amazingly astute.
Plus, of course, the fact that I did see George at one point popping back into a flagstone underneath it.
George, I told you to be careful not to be seen.
Sorry, Charles.
But, Governor, you didn't tell the police.
Oh, no, wouldn't be sporting. You'd have both got 20 years, and that's just not on, I'm afraid. You do both have to leave B-Block for good, as a little punishment for letting me down, and as an example to the rest. You see, George and Charles, it's quite good occasionally to let people know that one is not quite the silly old duffer they've been taking one for over the years.
I seem to have heard that somewhere before recently.
Besides which, you will be slightly more comfortably off now you're in retirement. £2 million, in spite of the present rate of inflation, should be enough to see you both safely through your last years in some little style. Excuse me, gentlemen.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah, fine.
Hello? Yes? They're with me now, as it happens. I'll put them on. The secretary tells me somebody would like to thank you both personally for saving the crown jewels.
Who?
Someone high up. Someone very high up.
You don't mean...
Oh, what a glorious ending to my autobiography. Her voice on my phone. Yes, Mrs. Thatcher, they're with me now. I'll hand them over.
With the head tucked underneath her arm, she walks the bloody town. With her head tucked underneath her arm, at the midnight hour, she comes to warn King Henry she means giving him what for. Gadzooks, she's going to tell him off for having spilt her gore.
And just in case the headsman wants to give her an encore,
she has her head tucked underneath her arm. Boom, 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 boom.
Peter Jones played Charles and Lockwood West George in Wally K. Daly's play A Right Royal Rip-Off. Governor Smith, Donald Hewlett, Fingers, Charles Hawtrey, Bullethead, Bernard Bresslaw, Tommy, John Bull, Billy, David Timpson, Perkins, Adrian Egan, Colony, Gordon Reed. Warden Wilkes and De Vere, John Rowe, Warden Plunkett, John Rye, the Colonel, Stephen Thorne. Nigel and the Vicar, John Warner, Basil and the Yeoman Guard, Ronald Herdman, Mr. Jones and Winston, Steve Hodson, Parole Board Chairperson, Miranda Forbes, Doreen and Deirdre, Wendy Murray, Mark Colony and Mrs. Sopworth, Pauline Letts. A Raven and a Thug, Wally K. Daly. A Right Royal Rip-Off was directed by Martin Jenkins.
Very good, very good.
That was A Right Royal Rip-Off from the Burglar's Bargain second episode of the trilogy. Out of prison and holidaying in Sicily, Charles and George spot an old enemy from A Block, Machine Gun Colony. Determined to find out what this notorious mafiosi is up to, they eavesdrop on a meeting of his family, and discover a plot to defraud the Bank of England. Enlisting the help of their criminal cronies once more, they set out to thwart the Cosa Nostra. Here is the final episode of the Burglar's Bargains trilogy from BBC4 in August 1985, named as The Bigger They Are.
The Bigger They Are, by Wally K. Daly, with Peter Jones as Charles, Lockwood West as George, Donald Hewlett as the prison governor, Charles Hawtrey as Fingers, and John Rye as Warder Plunkett. The action of the play begins in one of Her Majesty's prisons, somewhere in England.
Her Majesty has been gracious enough to allow us to be her honoured guests here for the last too few years, a time of constructive joy. But now, sadly, we must leave you. And I think I speak for both George and myself.
You most certainly do, Charles.
When I say...
Yes, you most certainly do.
George.
Oh, sorry, Charles, I wasn't thinking.
When I say we shall miss you all. Miss the pleasure of having created an environment where your untapped talent could flourish. Miss the pleasure of sharing your joy at each new achievement. Fingers, numerous sculptures growing before our very eyes.
It's chips with everything these days.
Tommy's tapestry nimbly telling the history of England.
Oh, 15 yards long now, Charles, and I'm only up to Ethelbert and Edgate.
And Cyril, having quite properly earned the right to put the dreadful sobriquet Bullet Head behind him forever.
Praise be for small mercies.
As he eschewed violence in his insatiable search for knowledge.
I say, Charles, that's rather good, eschewed.
Eschewed, a shan or flee to abstain from. It's derived from the German, shaven.
Thank you, Cyril. Your joy at each fresh discovered word as you head toward your literature A-levels is, I believe, a sight that brings a pleasure to us all.
Here. I found fecundity for the first time this morning, Charles.
Yes.
Some people have all the luck.
It's a lovely word, isn't it?
Yes.
Fecundity, fertile, prolific.
Not an ear, mate.
Delightful, Cyril, delightful. But mostly, George and I shall miss Governor Smith, without whose help none of the training programs we've instigated here over the years would have been possible.
Oh, you're too kind. And I hope you won't take it amiss if I add those few words verbatim into my soon-to-be-completed biography.
Verbatim, Governor, not Tum.
Ah, yes, of course, Tim, not Tum. Most helpful, Cyril.
We'll be thrilled, Governor. Won't we, George?
Oh, we most certainly would. Tim or Tum doesn't matter to us.
Good. When I say my prison shall be a sadder place without you both,
true.
I'm only sorry we couldn't convince the parole board to allow you to stay a little longer.
You're not by any chance questioning our authority to parole prisoners, are you, Governor?
No, Mrs. Sopwith. Nothing could be further from my mind. Just mentioning in passing, a pity George and Charles have to go at all.
Oh, good. Though I can see your point, but even perfect prisoners must finally be paroled.
Here. And the quicker the better, if you ask me.
Plunkett.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
Now, I believe we have a final musical tribute for you. Billy?
Yes. George and Charles, the choir has been rehearsing in secret over the past few weeks to give you this last musical tribute. All right, lads. We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day.
Some sunny day.
Having dealt most thoroughly with the sad loss to the prison, both staff and inmates, of the two kindly old gentlemen known affectionately to one and all as George and Charles, I turn in this, the very last chapter of my autobiography, to villainy in our midst, an expose of the highest order, creating some danger to myself, but danger that I take on my shoulders as a public duty. It concerns the allegedly reputable firm of Safe and Secure Security, which is in truth, dare I tell a startled world, which is in truth a mafia money laundering factory. Oh, my God, it's them, the mafia. Come.
Certainly, me, Gov.
Oh, Cyril, how nice of you to drop in like this. Do come in.
Charmant. I've brought along your new birthday suit for fitting.
Birthday suit?
Yeah, only goes to prove the chaps can keep a secret when pressed. We all decided to make you a surprise present in needlecraft class for your birthday next week.
Oh, well, I'll be blowed. How on earth did you get my measurements?
Oh, très facile. When Fingers asked to measure you for a statue he was contemplating, he was really measuring you for this suit.
Well, I'll be blowed again. I thought he seemed to be overly interested in my inside leg measurement.
And when Tommy asked you to suggest a colour for the next section of his tapestry, that also was a psychological ploy. He knew you'd suggest your favourite colour. And here you have it.
Mustard yellow.
Was he right?
Oh, yes. The colour I always think of for the opium wars in China has always been a strong favourite of mine.
Well, slip off your trousers then, Gov.
Well, turn round.
Oh, sorry, Gov.
You can look now, Cyril.
Oh, I like your underpants, Gov.
Quite catchy, aren't they? Present from my wife. She's got an eye for that sort of thing.
Oh, good. Well, you just slip into these, then.
Right.
There you go. Smash it. Now, if you just stay still, I'll stick in a few pins here and there to take up the slack.
Right. Are you finding any change in your fellow inmates' attitudes, Cyril, since you passed your A-level English literature?
Well, major one, thank the Lord, is that they finally stopped using that silly and unsavoury sobriquet that they did, one in there, on occasions used before, when they thought I wasn't in the vicinity, that is, and one there. Right, that's left leg done.
A sobriquet?
Yeah, you know, B.H.
B.H.? Surely you mean B.O.
Oh, no, that was a year before, when I went through that terrible shy patch and wouldn't take communal showers with the rest of the chaps.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Could you just put yourself into an imaginary sitting position, Gov, so I can gauge how much slack needs to be taken up at the back?
Like that, you mean?
Oh, that's perfect. No, B.H. came after that. After I inadvertently took 10 of them apart at one go when I was in half.
Oh, I remember, of course. B.H. stood for bullet head.
Don't say it, Gov. Now, there's absolutely nobody calls me that now. Nobody. Oh, I'm sorry, Gov. That was an involuntary thrust of me ping finger.
Oh, no permanent damage, I assure you. Cyril, while you beaver away, I want to put a little proposition to you about the warders, especially Plunkett. Have you noticed how miserable they all are?
Oh, oui. Les Miserables, as Victor would say.
Sylvester?
No, you go.
Would he?
Oh, yeah. In fact, I wanted to talk to you, Gov, about Plunkett and company.
Really? What an amazing coincidence.
Oh dear.
Here, Fingers. Oh, sorry to disturb you while you're chipping at that alabaster bust, but have you seen Bullethead anywhere?
Oh, that's all right, Tommy. I've just about finished this one in any case.
Oh, yeah.
Bullethead. Oh, yes. He just popped along to the governor's office for the first fitting of his birthday suit, as it happens.
I hope he likes the colour.
Brown, too. Mustard yellow is him to a T. By the way, in passing, he's going to drop into the conversation subtly. His anxiety about some of the warder's mental condition lately.
Well, it's then being so bored through lack of bother that does it.
Exactly, and I do see Bullethead's point. I think any time now, one of them is going to crack up totally.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't surprise me in the least if it was you-know-who.
What, Plunkett?
Got it in one, Tommy. You've got it in one.
137, 138, 139, 140, 141.
Plunkett.
142, 143, 144.
Plunkett.
145, 146, 147, 148 exactly. Good, that's that. Shallow wall checked, all present and correct. Now for the back one. 1, 2, 3.
What are you doing?
Checking the shower walls. 4, 5, 6.
What are you checking the shower walls for?
Make sure all the tiles are there. 7, 8, 9, 10.
What for?
Well, some of us like to do our jobs properly, Wilkes. You never know what these villains will be getting up to next. Have the fillings from out of your teeth if you don't watch them.
Oh, come on, they're all as good as gold these days. They've got so many educational projects on the go, they haven't got time for villainy.
Don't you believe it? It's the quiet before the storm, you mark my words. Something will happen soon.
I bleeding hope so. Ever since George and Charles have been gone, this job's gone from bad to worse.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I must get on.
Bet they found something better to do than counting tiles.
11, 12, 13, 14...
15, 16, 17,
George.
18, 19.
What are you doing?
Oh, just counting the little bits and bobs lying around. It's the big decisions that I find so hard to make these days, Charles. And the longer we're here, the harder it gets.
Big decision?
Yes, you know. Whether to plunge into the pool and then turn over to do the other side, or to do the other side and then go for a plunge in the pool.
Pretty arbitrary, whichever way you decide, George. This Sicilian sunshine's already made you look like a varnished mahogany plank. No matter which way you turn, get any browner and you'll have the odd missionary coming over to chat.
As brown as that?
Browner? You even managed to get sunburned in those crinkly concertinery bits in the blubber on your belly, and that takes some doing.
I think I preferred varnished mahogany plank to crinkly concertinery bits. Sounded quite Charles Atlas-ish there for a moment. Oaken thighs, arms like thews.
Thews?
Those are the ones. Right. Decision made. I'll go and have a swim first, and then turn over. Well, better be on my way. I say, Charles. Just across the way. Decidedly familiar face.
Where?
Over to the left of that voluminous lady with the red bikini top covering her. Oh, no, it's not a red bikini top. She's obviously not used to exposing those bits to the sun.
George, stop digressing and tell me where I'm supposed to be looking.
Deck chairs, 3 yards to her left.
Got it.
Now, Bermuda shorts and a cigar?
Got him.
Well, looks not unlike our nasty old friend from A Block.
Good God, George, not unlike. It's him without a doubt. And look, George, the chap talking to him. It's that ferrety little stoat who was forever visiting him inside.
Mr. Perkins.
The very same. Well, I'll be jiggered. What on earth are Machine Gun Colony and Perkins doing over here? One thing you can be sure of.
What?
They'll be up to no good.
And all the firm's books are safely in the safe at the villa?
Yes, Mr. Colony, stacked alphabetically and annually coded as requested, all ready for the family's annual inspection.
Don't say that in public, you Maximo Stupido. How many times do I have to tell you? The family does not exist. I am the sole and secret shareholder of Safe and Secure Securities English branch, and the family is but a figment of the imagination of the gutter press. There is no family. You hear me, Perkins? No family.
Yes, sir, Mr. Colony. Of course, sir.
I hear you mention the family again. I personally limit your libido.
I won't forget, sir.
You cretino maximoso.
Sorry, sir. What time are they actually arriving?
The American members will land in about 2 hours. The Australians an hour later, and the Chinese continue to arrive early this evening. By which time you, my stupid little office boy, will be safely back in England where you cannot cause any more harm.
Mr. Colony, I've only just flown in. Surely I could stay for a couple of days.
Stay? You think the family made of money? Damn bozo. What are they going to say if they find me giving my office manager a free holiday? You mean you didn't buy a cheap day return like I told you?
Well, sir, I thought that not having had a holiday this year...
A holiday? If I'm in prison, you're on holiday, right? If I'm not there to shout at you, that's a holiday, right? You have taken too much holiday this year, you lazy, no-account bumsano.
Only a couple of days, sir.
Pukins, you are angering me. If you say any more, I'll call a couple of the boys to come over and thwack you a little.
Sorry, sir. Anyway, naturally, sir, I must be getting straight back to London in any case to make sure that your company's safe and secure security is functioning in its usual smooth fashion and let you get on with your annual general meeting in peace with the rest of the family.
Pukins, there is no...
family. No, sir. Of course not, sir. Sorry, sir. Oh, and, by the way, sir, it's a small thing, but my name is actually Perkins.
Pukins.
Shut up.
Brilliant ploy on your part, Charles, to cross subtly and stealthily to sit in a deck chair directly behind them like that.
Oh, not that brilliant, George. Fairly standard intelligence service procedure, in fact.
Oh, gosh, I'll never cease to be amazed at what your time with them taught you.
Many years ago now, George, many years. But it's like falling off a bicycle. Once you've learned, you never forget.
Surely you mean riding a bicycle?
No, falling off. I never managed to actually get the hang of riding the damn things.
Ah. Well, what do we do with our newfound information?
The fact that they're going to hold their annual general meeting here?
Exactly.
It's an absolutely stunning stroke of good fortune, George. And we are, of course, going to attend. See what the mafia's getting up to these days.
What? But they never let us, Charles. Awfully snooty about who gets invitations, apparently, particularly over here in Sicily.
We'll attend surreptitiously, George, surreptitiously, over fences and eavesdropping at windows sort of thing.
Wouldn't it be, rather dangerous?
Probably, George, probably. But can you imagine a better way of breaking the boredom of this endless holiday of ours than with a spot of boys' own adventuring, spying on the villainous mafiosa?
I say. What do we do first?
Find ourselves a taxi and stand by to follow Coloni and his boys in their black limos.
Gosh, just like the movies, isn't it?
No, more brav. As chairman of this specially convened gathering, I demand that if you do have anything constructive to say, you address it to the chair, i.e. myself. Or put it another way, the next one who speaks about my permission gets severely GBH'd.
Well, you can't blame us for our reaction to the suggestion, Cyril. I've never heard of anything so outrageous in my life.
Would we have to adopt them officially? If word of that sort of thing got out, it wouldn't do a lot of good for one's later credibility.
No. It'd be completely off the record, Nigel. The governor's adopted warder scheme would simply mean that each group of 5 or so will take a special interest in a particular warder, sort of like foster prisoners, as it were.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you see, if they wanted to learn any of the specialist skills we possess, we should endeavour to teach them.
What? Do you mean safe cracking and stuff like that?
No, fingers. But if we see them standing around looking lost and lonely, we go up to them and we engage them in a little conversazione.
Oh, yeah, what about?
Well, anything, everything. You know, edifying conversation like.
Like, what?
Well, the state of the weather, whether the trees have turned all tumbled yet, the economy, ask their views on eternal life, perhaps.
As against the statutory 21 years.
Exactly, Basil. Or how it bodes for this year's harvest. Whether they brought British Telecom shares or not.
Whether they're unfaithful to their wives?
Yeah. No. Perhaps nothing too emotionally upsetting.
Oh, yeah. Well, how about if their wives are unfaithful to them?
Perhaps not, Billy. On reflection, it might be as well if you kept out of the conversazione part altogether.
Oh, right, Cyril, yeah. Fair enough.
What about ourselves? Would we be expected to invite them in there?
Well, I can't see that the occasional invite for them to come and take tea would be too much amiss.
Tea?
No, lads. I can see that you still got your doubts, but would it hurt so much to give it a try? For the governor's sake?
You can't ask us to do it, Cyril.
No! Well, think, fellow prisoners, of what answer our beloved and recently departed Charles and George would have expected us to give. And then answer me. Oui or no?
Oh, all right.
Suppose it wouldn't hurt.
Probably not.
Give it a try, shall we?
Oui.
Except for one thing, Cyril. No way does this we include Plunkett.
No way! Oh, but of course, fingers naturellement. That goes without saying. Non to Plunkett.
Oui.
And to the rest.
Oui.
The governor will hopefully take care of Plunkett himself.
And so I end this unsavoury saga re safe and secure security, sure in the knowledge that these mafioso villains, masked with respectability, particularly Coloni, will now finally, because of my book, be brought to book. The end. The end. The end. The end. Whoopee! Come.
It's me, sir.
Oh, Plunkett. Come in. Take a seat.
Very good, sir.
You've come at an auspicious moment, Plunkett. I've just this minute finished the last chapter of my autobiography.
Really, sir? Your autobiography? How interesting. Is it to be published, perhaps?
Oh, jolly well hope so.
How fascinating. Think anybody will buy it, sir?
I beg your pardon?
I was wondering if anyone will buy it, sir, when it's published, that is.
Oh, I should think so, Plunkett. After all, it's quite a fascinating subject. Prison life.
Yes, no doubt, sir, no doubt. The competition is immense, of course.
Competition?
Well, they do say there's 40,000 new books published every year in this country alone.
Do they?
Oh, yes, sir. Quite easy to get lost in the flood, I should imagine.
Not all about prison life, by any chance?
No, sir. About many other diverse and interesting subjects. You name any subject, and you can be sure that at least one, if not more, books on that subject will be published every year. But, still, if you've got a publisher interested enough to publish it, he must at least...
Well, I haven't quite got that far yet, Plunkett. Plunkett. Less than 40 seconds ago, I was full of happy euphoria, having come to the end of an exceedingly long and arduous task, awash with joy on a pilgrim's progress level at having at last brought my book safely to shore. And you have managed to smash that euphoria to smithereens with words that are coming at me with the force of a hobnail boot.
Have I inadvertently upset you by any chance, Governor?
No, you have not upset me.
Oh, good.
Just tell me what you damn well want and leave.
It's the tiles in the toilet.
Tiles in the toilet?
Yes, sir. Some of them are very loose, and I think the prisoners may be taking them off and then sticking them back on again.
Taking them off and sticking them on again? What on earth are you blathering about?
I believe they're looking for ways to escape. Air ducts and what have you. Like in that American film shown in the canteen. I think it's a copycat job, sir.
But none of the prisoners saw the film, Plunkett. None of them go to the canteen film shows now. They're all too busy with their projects. I only keep the films going to give you warders something to look forward to.
Well, sir, perhaps.
Oh, one moment, Plunkett. Come.
Say what, Gov? Wonderful news. All the chaps have agreed that... Oh.
Yes.
You may wait over there, Plunkett.
Very good, sir.
That's all. You may tell me whatever you have to tell me on the way to the toilets.
But I've just been, Gov. Always the same when I get excited.
No, not popping in for a visit. I just want to check on a serious report from Warder Plunkett.
Oh.
He's forewarned me perhaps there is chicanery afoot.
Chicanery? It's a bit unlikely, Gov. I mean, everybody's too busy for chicanery these days.
Cyril, let's just walk, shall we? So we can talk comfortably.
Oh, we. But of course, Gov.
Shan't keep you long, Plunkett.
That's all right, sir. Be interested to hear what you think. Well, I suppose I could glance at the governor's autobiography when I'm waiting. Yes. Yes. Just a glance, see if I get a mention. Yes, that's what I'll do. No harm in that.
Are you all right, George?
Oh, yes, fine.
You're sounding a trifle testy.
Well, I did have that wasted journey following Perkins to the airport. It's been nearly 3 hours in all, and this taxi's just like an oven, but that apart...
It's them.
What?
Coming out of the Lido and heading for their limo. Get down, George. Down.
Down? Oh, yes, down.
What can you see? Exactly what I said. They're heading for their limo. Right, they're in, we're off. Up you get, George. Right. Driver, follow that car.
I appear to be stuck, Charles.
Driver.
Well, I'll be dashed, the damn fella's fast asleep, George. Driver!
Get in. Get off.
Good Lord, I don't believe it. Machine gun Coloni. Safe and secure security. A mafia stronghold. Ooh, this is dynamite. Now, think, man, think. Who's the little ferret who used to visit Coloni? Used to slip me the odd pound note or two for turning a blind eye to the goodies he brought. Puke. Pork. No. It ended in N's. I'm Mr. Pinkins. Porkins. Perkins. Yes, that's the one. Perkins. Perky Perkins. I'll give him a ring. Yes, that's what I'll do. Ring Perkins. Perhaps he'll fix me up with an important job. Get me out of prison life for good. Oh, great. Yes, that's what I'll do. Ring Perkins and forewarn him.
Welcome, my friends, my brothers, to this, our secret annual general meeting. As chairman and leader of our movement in England, may I say how thrilled I am that you all arrived safely in our beloved mother country.
The Tongs are indeed proud to be invited to such an august gathering.
We are all brothers at heart, who found?
Amen to that, Cobbers. We Australian Mafia are even contemplating forming an international Mafia cricket tournament.
Cricket?
We look forward to hearing how it goes, Mr. Foster.
Why not cut all the crap, Albertino, and get down to facts and figures? I didn't fly 2,000 miles for the flannel.
Why do you always set out to irritate me, Angelino? You know how upset I get when you're rude to me. Mama will not be happy when I tell her. Always she says, Angelino, do not upset your little brother Albertino. So why, Angelino, do you upset Albertino? Angelino?
Because I should be a godfather in England, not you. That's why. I'm eldest brother. Yes, it should be my job.
But you haven't got the brain for it, Angelino. Mama said you were the muscles. I am the brain.
It's true, and the whole world knows your only muscle is in your mouth.
And the whole world knows that when you sit down, you crush your brain.
What does that mean, my clever little Albertino?
It means, Angelino, you cannot see an insult when it looks you in the kisser.
There you go again, talking like an educated college kid, just to escape my anger.
Tongs not so proud to be at not so august gathering.
Oh, Struth, this is worse than the screeching of Sheila's at a Bondi booze up.
Why don't you talk English so I can understand you?
That was English. Australian English.
Why not you, him?
And why aren't you a friendly like? As Mama say, you should be.
Never, just because you are still a little baby.
Don't anger me, Angelino, else I must get my boys to thwack your boys a little.
Them and whose army? My boys can thwack your boys any day of the week, Albertino.
No, Angelino, you can't do that at all.
Fairly typical family gathering by the sound of it, George. Yes, it would appear so. Whoops! Oh, you all right?
Only just. Nearly slipped down the roof. Loose tires.
Tie your braces round the guttering, same as I've done. No chance of falling then, and you'll be able to see through this fanlight as well.
Ah, good thinking. Brilliant idea of yours, Charles. Taking turns each at furtively hanging on the back of the limousines as they arrived at the gate like that.
Another little trick I learned in wartime intelligence, George. Only way I could see us getting into the ground. So much surveillance, it makes Fort Knox look like a village post office. Braces okay?
Oh, yes.
Good.
Holding beautifully.
Good.
Yo-ho. Yo-ho.
George!
I thought we'd never get on the roof, mind.
Lucky that painter's ladder had been inadvertently left outside.
Yes, fairly careless.
They're probably not too worried. Once everybody was safely inside the villa, they could let their dogs out again and the place would be secure once more.
I was going to ask about the dogs, actually. A fairly ferocious-looking pack. How are we going to get past them when it's time to leave the grounds? Poison meat?
Afraid not. I didn't think to bring any. It all happened in too much of a rush. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, George. For the moment, let's just listen in to see what's afoot.
Right here, Charles.
Says who?
Says me.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Struth.
Well, at any time you want to try it, big brother, you try it.
How about now?
It's a gun. You're covered, Mr. Angelino. Don't move.
You see? My boys didn't trust you to come unarmed as promised, Angelino. Shoot, and you're a mincemeat for the dogs outside.
And my boys didn't trust your boys to come unarmed either, Albertino. You got them covered, boys?
Sure thing, Mr. Angelino, from up here in the Mistress Gallery.
Oh, Struth.
Don't worry, boss. I've got a machine gun covering Angelino's boys in the Minstrel's Gallery.
Don't worry, boss. I got the guy with the machine gun covered from here as well.
Well, Angelino, I don't know about you, but I've lost track of who's covering who.
Me too.
Me too.
Shall we call it a Mexican standoff?
No, more sensible gentlemen to decide on Chinese standoff.
What's a Chinese standoff, Hoofman?
A Chinese standoff is when we make a chow mein of all available muffins, put them on table where all can see them. If necessary, they can quickly be grabbed for again. The tongue clams do it all time.
What do you say, Albertino?
Okay. But only if you promise to treat me like a good brother should. Friendly like.
Is a deal. Okay, boys. Come and put your weapons on the table like Hung Fu says.
It's Fu.
Yeah, sure thing, Fang Hu.
And all of mine. You come over here and do the same.
Now, perhaps we can get on with our meeting.
Struth, I sure hope so. We Australian Italians have never really understood the family's need to feud all the time. Struth. I've never seen an argument yet that couldn't be settled over a crate of lager. Wheel it in, boys!
Through. Oh.
Hello. Just a moment. Hello.
Is that Mr. Perkins?
Yes, speaking. Who's this?
I'd rather not say at the moment.
Rather not say. Why?
I'll explain later. I've been trying to get you all afternoon.
Yeah, I wasn't here all afternoon. I've just arrived back from abroad. What can I do for you?
More like what I can do for you, Perkins.
All right, then. What can you do for me?
I have information you might find of interest.
Information? What sort of information?
Important information. A book is shortly to be published.
A book? What about?
About your firm, Safe and Secure Security. About the fact it is run by the mafia and the machine gun colony is its true head.
That is a libelous untruth. Safe and Secure Security is the most respected institution in the... Hang on. I recognize your voice. You're the warder I used to bribe so that I could take the basic necessities of life into Her Majesty's prison whilst visiting my superior who had been wrongfully detained.
They weren't bribes. They were unsolicited gifts.
I'm right. I'd recognize that voice anywhere. Plunkett, wasn't it?
Still is, as it happens.
Now, look, Plunkett, even though it's wicked lies, it mustn't be published, you understand? Who wrote it?
The prison governor.
Oh, I see, the governor. Could you possibly get hold of it for me, just so that I could glance through it, perhaps?
There will be a payment involved, of course.
Do you never think of anything but money? Surely it's your civic duty to stop this libel.
I don't want money.
You don't? Good Lord, how bizarre. Then what do you...
I want a good job. A job that'll get me out of the prison service for good. A job with your firm. Managerial. Swap me cosh for cash and a clean white collar.
Get the book, Mr. Plunkett, and we'll talk again. Over my dead body will that paranoid screw work for us. Oh, dear. But how did the governor find out the truth about Safe and Secure Security?
And before we all finish up our cocoa and turn in for the night, may I finally say to both warders and prisoners, if you'll excuse the expression, that hopefully my adopt-a-warder experiment will help to ease the warder's tedium and will prove a resounding success. And show you men, our charming charges, that warders, underneath their harsh exteriors, hidden behind hardwood truncheons, as it were, are also, if I may make a little witticism, almost human.
Try droll, guy. Try droll.
Thank you, Cyril. Now, men, any questions?
Yes. When you say none of the doors henceforth will be locked, does this include the front door?
Oh, no. Unfortunately, that's not possible, Fingers. I mean, if I have any high-ranking visitors, Mrs. Sopworth from the parole board, for instance, it'd be a bit off if they could just walk in off the streets unannounced. Naturally, if any of you wanted to pop out with your foster warder for the evening, it could always be arranged to loan you a spare warder's uniform.
Shouldn't think from what I've read about the outside in some of the more serious Sunday papers that we want to.
I couldn't agree with you more, Cyril. More criminals by the yard out there than there are in here, it seems. I dread walking across the common at night.
Don't mean dangerous. Muggings.
Violence.
Sex.
Anything else?
Yes, Governor, I have a question.
Yes, Warder Wilkes?
Well, what about Plunkett?
Oh, yes, well, luckily it doesn't become a problem until a month's time.
Oh, how's that go?
Warder Plunkett has some accrued leave, and as he's under obvious stress, I'm going to suggest he takes a month off, forthwith. And by the time he comes back, I'm sure I'll have come up with a perfect long-term answer to the problem of Officer Plunkett.
I doubt whether they'll bring back hanging at such short notice.
And we have seen this year our profits rise enormously. Safe and Secure Security have indeed just received a contract from the Bank of England to transport the Britain's total used money supply to their bank in the city from banks nationwide for the destroyed, as well as for delivering from the minty place all monies printed every week. This means that virtually all England's new and used notes are now passing through our hands in any given week.
Good on you. How's the lager, boys? That'll put hair on your didgeridoos.
The didgeridoos.
Carry on, Mr. Kalani.
Oh, grazie. Add to this the multi-billion-pound holding of the family's monies and treasures worldwide that we keep in our secret vault within the vaults, and not forgetting the art collections.
The jewelry we have bought as cheap investment, plus Fanny money.
Funny money? How so?
Fanny, who young? You understand me? A counterfeit, a bank.
Ah, Benta. The naughty money, huh?
Exactly. Money we have printed over the years, and will now be exchanging this very week for the old used notes that go for burning by the sackful. So you can see, therefore, we are in a very healthy economic situation indeed.
One thing puzzles me, Albertino.
And what is that, Angelino?
I know, because grandfather told me many years ago that this firm in England, Safe and Secure Security, was founded when times were troubled in America. It was funded by family money to be used by all the international godfathers.
That is true, Angelino. So what is the puzzle?
I was of the understanding that finally one day would be payoff day, when the whole of the wealth of Safe and Secure Security would be shipped out of England and shared equally between all of us.
Lily. How interesting.
Some handout, eh, who fun?
Well, that is true, Angelino, but only if we were under threat. We have never been under threat. Not one whiff of scandal has ever touched the good name of Safe and Security.
Answer question raised by Honorable Brother Angelino. When is payoff day?
Oh, not for years. Well, what would be the point? We are making millions of pounds of legitimate money every year for laundering even more billions of pounds of illegitimate money. We have in Safe and Secure Security probably the most useful monetary device this family has ever possessed. Well, why wrap it up?
George, this is the most staggering revelation I've ever heard.
Quite incredible. But surely we must do something about it.
I don't know. I feel very ambivalent about lawbreakers these days, George. All that time we spent in prison did it, I suppose. Mind you, if these chaps did decide to pull the rug out from under the company and make off with the loot, we'd have to do something then.
Why's that, Charles?
Well, if half the country's funds disappeared at one fell swoop, it'd be economic disaster. Not enough cash to pay the workers, industry would be at a standstill, runs on the banks, building societies, etc. Stock market would plummet, the government would probably come tumbling down.
Just that one bright spark in a lot of gloom, then.
Exactly.
But why should they pull the rug out? They're not under any threat. And that's the only reason, he said, that would cause them to do so.
No, I'm afraid you can't. Mr. Cologny's in a meeting. What? He's not going to like this, but tell him it's a what? A disaster. Right, hang on. Must remember that. A disaster. A disaster.
Enormously. And we have seen an ever wider market for the drugs we import for these foolish young people to buy to make their lives more tolerable.
Yeah.
But is our money truly safe on deposit with the mafia?
I assure you, Hufang, your money is safe with our company. It is to our mutual advantage, in fact, that we do business in such a friendly fashion.
Well, my fellow directors are quite happy to go on using your facilities. London's rapidly becoming a suburb of swinging Sydney. We've got the bucket shop airline ticket business sewn up, the manufacturing rights on rucksacks, and the distribution of our pommy repellent lager. So we're making a fortune.
Business is indeed good worldwide.
Excuse me, Mr. Cologny.
I am a chattering a dumbbell. Don't you know better than to interrupt when I'm a chattering? You there, thwack him.
Yes, Mr. Colony.
Oh, Mr. Cologny, it's Perkins.
Pukins? Thwack him again for mentioning that horrible man.
Yes, Mr. Colony.
Oh, he said to say that the company's in great danger. A disaster, he called it. He's on the phone now.
What? Excuse me, friends. I better talk to this idiot, Maximoso Pukins, to see what this disaster is. You there, thwack him again for making me have to get up.
Yes, Mr. Colony.
What do you think you're playing at, you Moronista Supremo? I have a serious meeting and you interrupted the telephone call. You're lucky I don't rip your head off and have my boys use it as a football.
Yes, Mr. Colony, I realise.
So now you keep me standing at the telephone without telling me what the disaster is about.
No, Mr. Colony, I can't seem to get a word in.
Now I talk too much, is that it?
No.
So what is this disaster? Come on, Dumbino, let me hear it.
A book, Mr. Colony.
Book? What about?
A life story. It's an autobiography.
An autobiography? A life story about a motor car? What possible disaster can come from there?
It's not about the life of a motor car, Mr. Colony.
Oh, it's about the death of a motor car. Okay, read it. If it's got a happy ending, buy me a copy.
It's about the life of a person, Mr. Coloni.
What? You ringing me to tell me someone's writing a book about their dumb
A
lives?
person, prison governor, as it happens. He has a chapter on safe and secure security.
Oh, so what? We're a famous British institution.
He tells what we really are, a mafia strongbox stroke, money laundering factory, and he also says that you are the true owner. And mafia godfather in England. Mr. Coloni. Mr. Coloni.
Has the book been published yet?
No, sir. It's just in handwritten form.
Get it, Pukins.
Well, luckily, I'm already in contact with a person who can get it for us.
How much?
He just wants a job with us, actually, management level.
Good. Make him your assistant so you can keep the eyes on him.
But, sir, he's awful.
Oh, don't worry. You're awful, but I managed to live with it. Besides, he won't be there long. You. Come here.
Yes, Mr. Coloni.
Slap me on the face a little. Get the blood moving.
But, Mr. Coloni...
Slap.
Sir.
Harder. Harder.
Okay.
Mamma mia. Oh, don't go crazy.
Problem, Albertino.
The problem is, Angelino, our hands have been forced. While safe and secure was safe and secure, there was no problem. Now it is no longer safe and secure. We must pull the rug from under it. We must bring our piggy bank in England to a close. I shall immediately return there to put it in hand and close it down.
George, we've got to go into action immediately.
We most certainly must, Charles. The guttering's starting to go.
Oh.
Charles!
Don't worry, George. Your braces will break your... The whole guttering's going. George, are you all right, George?
Yes, the dogs took the brunt of it.
Quick, get your braces untied. The mafia must have heard us.
I can't get them loose, Charles.
Well, slip your pants off, same as I'm doing.
But, Charles, what if we meet a lady?
More likely to meet your maker. Oh. Quickly, they're coming.
There they are! Shoot after them!
Oh!
How come?
It's only me, Gov. Just popped in to let you try your new overcoat on. I say, you all right? You look as though you've been crying. What is it, Gov? Death in the family? Dear old mare finally shuffled off her mortal coil, something like that?
Worse, Cyril. Much, much worse.
Oh, no, not your dear old bear.
Oh, my manuscript.
Your manuscript?
Here's my autobiography. Years and years of work. Gone.
Gone?
Disappeared, Cyril. It was here last night, and now it's... gone.
Gone? But surely you kept a copy. I mean, I thought that was the first rule of writing. Always keep a copy.
I didn't. It's horrendous. All that golden prose, all those fine thoughts I've had over the years of how to improve the prisoner's lot, make life more worthwhile for both sides in the ceaseless war between the guilty and the warders. Yeah. The inspiration and insights into life and death, love and hate, past and future. Gone, gone, gone.
Did you think to check the dustbins by any chance, Gov?
Yes, first thing I thought of. But who could have done such a dastardly thing, Cyril? Who, in this peaceful oasis of ours, could be evil enough to snatch away a man's very dreams? Who, Cyril? Who?
Well, Plunkett, I suppose.
Good God, you're right. Plunkett! Yes, the manuscript was on the desk last night. And when I told Plunkett about his month's enforced leave, he told me to get... to take the month in lieu of notice, as he probably wouldn't be coming back.
Gosh! How absolutely trained man you feel.
Exactement. I was so thrilled, I skipped off down the corridor singing, without even a thought of my precious manuscript.
And when you arrived back this morning, it was gone.
Exactly, Cyril. It has to be Plunkett. C'est la vie!
As the French would ejaculate.
Would they?
Definitely, Governor. Definitely.
I really am dashed sorry about last night.
That's all right. You couldn't help the towels slipping from under you.
Oh, true, but to slide right off like that.
Jolly good job you swung by your braces, is all I can say.
60 years old and still full of elasticity. It was a rather strange sensation for a man of my advanced years, twanging up and down in front of that window with everybody in sight looking out at me. I felt like a trapped yo-yo.
Yes.
I still don't know how I finally fell to the ground.
I cut you free.
I might have hurt myself.
Well, I had to risk that. I gauged the moment when you and the guttering would fall under those vicious, slobbering hounds below and lay them out in one fell swoop, plus safely cushioning your fall.
Gosh.
Training George and the intelligent mind ready to rise to the heights of inspiration in the twinkling of an eye.
Brilliant.
Exactly.
And when the dogs arose, they were so confused and concussed, they charged on the gunmen and sent them racing back indoors. I didn't like the sensation of the bullets whizzing by us in the pitch black with the forest at the rear.
No problem if you could hear them, George. It means they've missed. They got somebody, mind. I quite distinctly heard someone scream in agony. Now, before we set off for the airport, I'd better go and telephone the governor. Let him know what's afoot.
This is all very spacious, Perky.
Mr. Perkins, if you don't mind, Mr. Plunkett. If you do indeed end up working here as my superior has indicated you might, I shall expect you to observe the common courtesies.
Certainly, Mr. Perkins. A small price to pay for getting out of prison uniform. I was just saying, this garage, gigantic, isn't it?
It's large enough to hold our entire fleet of 140 security vans. In fact, it's fairly empty at the moment, as it's a busy day, but by the weekend it'll be jam-packed.
What's that large concrete-looking place? Bit of a traffic hazard, isn't
that
it?
That leads down into the somewhat colourfully termed vault of vaults. Nobody but my superior himself, plus a few of his friends, go in there, and the drivers do seem to drive around it quite happily. Right, come this way, would you? It leads through to the offices.
Will I get one of those little plastic cards to open the doors?
Yes. I'm not sure whether you'll be issued with one that also operates the executive washroom, but I will check with my superior.
Oh, good. How about the tile work in there?
The what?
You know, the ceramics. I seem to have developed a taste for tasteful toilet tiles these days.
Really? Well, each to his own, Mr. Plunkett. This way. My office is at the end.
Doesn't seem to be any people around.
Oh, it's mostly computerized now, bookkeeping, route planning, etc. And the staff have always been kept to a minimum for security reasons.
Oh, of course.
Naturally, I do have a private secretary. Hello, Doreen.
Hello, Mr. Perkins.
This is Mr. Plunkett, who may shortly be joining us. My secretary, Doreen Brown.
Hello, Mr. Plunkett.
Hello, Doreen.
Miss Brown, if you don't mind. She is my secretary, not yours.
Oh, sorry. Miss Brown it is, then.
Right, we're going through, Doreen. Organised teas, would you?
Yes, Mr. Perkins.
Come through.
Be delighted.
Take a seat.
Fine.
No, the swivel chair behind the desk is mine, Mr. Plunkett.
Oh, sorry, this one?
Yes, that one's fine. Now to business. The manuscript in that envelope, is it?
No, it's somewhere safe.
I beg your pardon?
I said it's somewhere safe.
But you're supposed to have brought it with you. My superior insists on having it on the premises.
But if I brought it with me, Mr. Perkins, and you had it in your possession, there'd be no point in your giving me a job, now would there? Yeah. But what I did do was to bring you this photocopy of the relevant chapter.
Oh, no. It's dreadful. A dying prisoner telling the prison governor. How could he do such a thing? On his deathbed of all times. Mr. Coloni is going to be furious.
Another drink?
Sure. How's your foot now?
Oh, fine. The doctor said the bullet went straight through. He has repaired it well, see? But it must have no knocks.
So, who will do the job? You're Mr. Porkins?
It's Pukins, actually.
Oh, Mr. Pukins.
Yes. No. He is a dumb bear without the brains for such a job. Also, he might be hesitant about ruining his country's economy. Sentimental fools, the Britishers.
Sorry. So, who will handle it?
Oh, Angelino, beloved elder brother. The apples of Mama's eye. This job needs brain and muscle, right? Who better than you and I? Let's keep it in the Coloni family. We clean, safe and secure out, and then together get the loot out of the country, eh? What do you say?
Albertino, my lovely little bambini, you make me so happy. I kiss you.
Careful, Andrew. Watch my foot!
Oh, sorry, Albertino. I'm just so happy. Mama will be thrilled we work together finally.
We will phone her later. Let her know. As soon as my foot stops throbbing.
One problem. You've always kept the low profile at Safe and Secure Security, yes?
See. Only go on the deadliest deadest of night. Check Pukin's work as much as necessary. Play with the computer a little. Then stroll round the vaults enjoying paintings, porcelain, silver and stuff. It is an Allen lad's cave down there. We must go tonight, Angelino. I'll show you.
But if you take over from Pukin's, what if you're seen there during the day?
No need. A nighttime job. On Friday, all 140 vans arrive empty after doing their collections and deliveries. On Sunday, go back to local depots ready for work on Monday morning. Friday is our biggest day. All vans out. 50 of them collect used and dirty old money and deliver it for destruction to the Bank of England, while at the same time, 50 others collect new, clean money from the minty place to deliver to the banks to replace the old stuff. Very efficient, you see. The other vans are free to do any other little jobs that crop up, BBC wages, small stuff like that. Then all end up back here empty, ready for weekend maintenance.
But what is the use to us if they're empty?
That is where my brain comes in. This Friday they won't be empty. I program our computer to deliver the drivers with different dockets.
Docket? What's a docket? A baby duck?
No. A baby duck's a quacklet.
That's a nice word, quacklet. I like baby ducks, brother, do you?
Oh, sure, particularly with an orange sauce. A docket, Angelino, is a piece of paper. Tells the driver what he has to do that day. Now, this Friday, I will leave out the delivery side of the job. They will still collect the dirty money from the banks and the clean from the minty place, but will simply come back here without delivering it anywhere.
You mean, brother?
Exactly. This week, the minty has a hole in it, and we have billions of money all ready to be driven to a secret airport, then onto a fleet of charter planes and off for a share out among our shareholders.
Won't your maintenance man notice the vans are gone?
What? Good thinking. I'll just cancel this weekend's maintenance quacklets on the computer.
You mean cancel the dockets, Albert?
Of course I mean dockets! You see, Angelino, we do work well together.
I must say, this is absolutely delightful, you both turning up like this.
And it's quite thrilling to be back, Governor, being honest. And very nice of you to offer us our old cell for the duration.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
I must say your mustard yellow suit is rather dashing.
The chaps made it for my birthday. It goes rather well with the moccasins, don't you think?
Yes, it does.
Governor, I was wondering, why did you open the front gate rather than one of the warders? And why this strange air of stillness about the place? Combination of cutbacks and parole, perhaps?
Oh, dash, how awful of me to forget to tell you. You must have been wondering why on earth there was no welcoming committee. Warders and prisoners are all out at the moment, I'm afraid.
Day trip to the seaside, perhaps?
No, they're scouring streets for that slug Plunkett, hoping to get my manuscript back.
Ah, so it was Plunkett.
I'm afraid so.
You see, Governor, your autobiography is a catalyst, as it were. George and I were on the rooftop of a mafiosa villa and heard what was going to happen because of what you'd written. That's why we've got to talk to you.
You mean they'd read my autobiography in Italy?
Yes.
Did they like it?
Hardly. That's why we had to see you.
Oh, was the grammar bad, the syntax? Cyril checked it all thoroughly.
No, it was the content, Governor. Your revelations about safe and secure security.
Ah,
quite.
Bit far? Opened a can of beans, have I?
A hornet's nest, Governor. A hornet's nest.
My superior's not going to be terribly happy about you being so suspicious of his intentions and not bringing the manuscript as requested.
Oh, well, I'm sure you explaining that it's with a friend of mine, all ready to be posted off to the papers if anything unfortunate should happen to me, should help him to understand. Provided I get the job here, he is quite safe.
A friend, you
Yes.
say? How surprising. Right, I'll open up and let you out, Mr. Plunkett. Unless you hear differently, see you tomorrow morning, 9:30 sharp.
Very good, Mr. Perkins.
Hi! Plunkett! We've been looking everywhere for you!
Good Lord, shut the gates. It's Bullet Head and Fingers running straight for us.
Oh, Dad, they slammed that great steel door shut in our faces. Oh, what are we going to do, Cyril? What are we going to do?
No, not Cyril Fingers. The moment for Cyril is past. Now it is Bullet Head time.
Oh, no, Cyril, not your head. Not as a battering ram.
Stand back, Fingers.
Oh, you poor thing.
Yes?
And then these great steel doors were slammed in our faces, weren't they, Cyril?
They were indeed, Fingers. I was so beside myself that I quite forgot my newfound calm. I became Bullet Head once more. But it was to no avail. My head only made tiny little dents in the door, so it shows how strong they were. Très formidable, in fact.
Yes, the place is a veritable fortress.
You don't think there's any chance of us using your skills to get inside, Fingers?
Well, I've been in here so long now, I've been able to do the necessary background reading on modern technology and handle the plastic card stuff, I'm afraid.
I'm sorry about that, Fingers. If you'd let me know, I'd have got the necessary magazines to keep you up to date.
Well, as a matter of fact, I've been doing a bit of reading relevant to my own interest in electronics. And it would seem that unless you had either the coded card to work on or a ton of dynamite, there is no way that you can shift locks like that.
But surely we don't have to. I mean, he's got to come out. Putting this round-the-clock watch on the place means we'll have him in the end.
What if my autobiography is still locked up inside there when he finally does come out? We'll never get it if we can't break in.
While understanding your justifiable anxiety re your manuscript, Governor, perhaps we should now disclose the wider implications of what is going on.
But of course, yes, I was forgetting. Dash selfish of me.
George and I, while in Italy, inadvertently stumbled on a mafia plot not only to rob the Bank of England of a vast amount of old money, but also the Royal Mint of a vast amount of new money, and, as an incidental, to put the whole of the country's economy at risk.
How about my British Telecom shares, Charles? They'll be all right, will they?
Not even sure about that, Cyril.
That is serious, then.
The trouble is, we don't know what the plan is, what day the plan will be put into action, nor can any of you come up with a solution of how to get inside to find out.
No. You know, it must be at moments like this, Charles, that you cursed yourself for not having started clairvoyancy classes for us all, along with the rest of the classes you started in here.
It would, I admit, have been a far-sighted thing to have done, Tommy. Almost a clairvoyant act in itself, in fact.
See the top screen? They've got that gate covered as well. It's Nigel.
Well, that's every main entrance checked.
Isn't there a little side entrance somewhere that they might have missed?
Yes, there is. Covered by camera 3, as it happens. I'll switch it on. Middle bottom screen.
Well, Harpy, you see that man over the road? It's Billy, damn it.
Well, that's the lot, I'm afraid. We're surrounded.
We'll get you to stay inside till they go away, then.
Yes, but we can't stay here forever. It's gone midnight.
I know that. You know that. But it would appear that they don't. They're doing 1-hour shifts out there, both warders and prisoners.
Look, I've got to put you out, Plunkett, so I can lock up and go home. My landlady will be worried.
If you put me out, they'll torture the truth out of me and discover Geoffrey's got the manuscript.
Geoffrey?
My friend.
Ah.
Don't say R in that tone of voice. He's just a friend.
Well, I wasn't suggesting.
We take walks together and talk about life.
Really?
Yes. And spend our holidays in a little boarding house in Margate.
Oh, nice.
Separate rooms, of course.
Of course.
Spend all night chatting if we didn't.
Oh, no.
What is it?
Middle screen, the one covering the main gate. They're opening.
It's them. That old fool Fingers must have picked the lock.
But that's impossible. It can't be done. Oh, no. It's Mr. Coloni and someone else. Quick, we've got to get out.
But why? Surely you're allowed to be here.
Not at this time of night. This is the time the family sometimes calls. Now, Coloni will think I'm spying on him, particularly here at the nerve centre. You can hear every word from here.
You just await, Tangerino. You'll be amazed. Is it a combination lock or what? Electronic, a bit of plastic. Totally burglar-proof. Pukins' idea. So we have the good ideas sometimes. Sometimes, but not enough. Still, 2 days to go, and he'll be out of my ears for good. See, it is open. So Pukins will take the rap, is that it? Yes, for robbing the Bank of England and their minty place, wrecking the country's economy. Pukins will take for this the whole lovely blame. Now follow me.
Turkey, they're sending you for the long drop. Get convicted for this little caper and they could throw away the key.
I am not going to be convicted of anything, Mr. Plunkett.
What you doing? Good Lord, another set of screens.
Exactly. My one trump card that even Coloni doesn't know about. A secret set of screens that covers the vault of vaults. And microphones. We're going to listen to exactly what they plan. Then I'm going to do my damnedest to stop them.
I say, Perky, you're a bit of a tiger when roused, aren't you?
You ain't seen nothing yet, sweetheart.
It's no good, Charles. I can't think of an answer to it. There's no way past those doors. We're stuck.
He's right, Charles. We've had it this time.
Oh, someone at the front gate, Gov. Would you like me to oblige?
No, better not. Might be Mrs. Sopworth paying one of her surprise visits.
I suppose you're right, Gov.
Mrs. Sopworth? After midnight?
She likes to pop in occasionally and have a peep through your various spy holes, see if everybody's settled down comfortably.
Oh.
At least I think that's why she likes to pop in and peep through your spy holes.
Well, really?
Would you get it, Warder Wilkes?
Certainly, sir. Back in a tick.
It's one fault re our problem, Charles.
Couldn't we get hold of one of Coloni's cohorts and brutalise him a bit?
Yeah, no violence, Cyril. I detest all physical violence. It makes me quite weak at the knees just thinking about it.
Well, not just a teeny bit, you know, the odd arm ripped off and stuck up the odd nostril.
No, I don't really think brutality is the answer, Cyril.
Oh, it's just a thought, Charles.
What the hell?
We've got Plunkett, Governor!
And Mr. Perkins as well!
Come on, Plunkett, this way.
Let me go.
Plunkett! Stop struggling this instant. You are a disgrace to your calling. Where's my damn book, you bibliomaniacal monster?
Yeah.
That was my baby, and you wrested it from my arms like some latter-day Herod. Your head on a plate would be small price to pay for such sacrilege.
You shan't have it. It's my passport to a new
You
future.
let me have it this instant, you insolent cradle snatcher, or I'll have your truncheon and cuffs on my desk forthwith.
You've forgotten. I've left. Keep your cuffs and stick your truncheon up here.
Ah, you discombobulating demon. I have a good mind to dash it. I will!
Hold Don't worry, Charles, leave it to me. One under each arm should do the trick nicely. Here we go. Up the daisy!
Put me down, Cyril. I've no head for heights.
Oh, no, not near the armpits. You going to be calm now, Gov?
Yes, Cyril, I'm back in control now.
Well, I'll put you down then. Easy does it.
Ah, thank you, Cyril.
And you can let Plunkett go as well, Cyril. Right. Ah! No more fisticuffs, Governor. This is neither the time
Nor the place. There is a tide in the affairs of men, which, taken at the flood, leads on to fortune.
Or to the loss of it if we don't get a move on. Now, Billy, Nigel, why is Mr. Perkins in our midst? Last time I saw you was on a foreign beach with a mealy-mouthed mafia man. So it'll be interesting to see why you were taken prisoner along with Plunkett.
I was not taken prisoner. I actually helped to deliver Plunkett back to you.
No, you'll all be amazed to hear he's speaking the truth. That the gates are safe and secure, swung open, and he pushed Plunkett out.
He could have killed me, like a wild animal he was.
And he chased after him with us, brought him down with a flying rugby tackle, helped us get him in the van, and insisted on coming back here with us to talk to the governor.
Talk to me? I don't even know the fella.
He's the one who used to bribe Plunkett to let him take goodies into Colony while he was resident here.
It wasn't bribes. It was gratuities for holding doors open, things like that.
Plunkett, you're in enough trouble as it is.
This was the only place I could think to go to get help in stopping Colony and the rest of the mafia from destroying what's left of the country's economy.
Don't you dare tell them their plans, Perkins. I'll be out of a job.
Don't you realise you're out of a job before you start? They're closing the place down.
You're lying. They'll look after me if I tell them what you're up to.
Wicks, take him away. I'm tired of his treacherous tirades. Lock him in a dark cell like the snivelling turncoat he is.
A cell? Don't you dare lock me in a cell. Oh, the arm. Don't you dare. You're invading my civil liberties.
Quietly, Plunkett. Don't forget, I'm senior warden now.
No, you're not.
Since you handed in your truncheon and cuffs, I am.
Come on now.
And I'll be down shortly to slowly pull his fingernails out until he tells me where my damn book is.
There's no need, Governor.
Why is there no need?
I know where your manuscript is. It's with Plunkett's friend.
Friend?
His name's Geoffrey. They holiday in Margate together.
Margaret, no accounting for taste.
But first, I have something important to tell you all.
There we are, Angelino, done.
As simple as that? You mean just by pressing a few buttons on a computer you can arrange the biggest robbery the world has ever seen?
No problem. This is the modern way. I have to do a night school computer course to keep abreast of 20th century crime. To think our dear departed Papa would have had no use for his beloved machine gun in these troubled times, Angelino.
He'd have thought of something.
Oh, true, very true. So now, Angelino, back to the mansion to arrange for drivers and air transport, and in less than 24 hours we'll be on our way flying home to Mama.
Oh, great. Maybe she'll make us some of her pasta.
Well, it's all very interesting, Mr. Perkins, but we did actually know all that already.
You did? All of it?
Yes.
Really?
Really?
Scout's honour?
Scout's honour.
Oh, damn.
But what we don't know is how and when.
I do.
You do?
Yes.
Really?
Really.
Scout's honour?
Scout's honour.
Oh, good.
Well, the family secret fortune goes as well as the money. Now, I listen to their every word and follow their every move as they travel through the underground vault of vaults. It is indeed like an Aladdin's cave. So much wealth as to make Croesus look quite impoverished.
Oh, a nice simile, Mr. Perkins. Trace that.
And as they walked, talked, I watched, listened, and remembered.
Well, tell us, man, so we can sort out how to deal with it.
On one condition.
You make conditions when the nation's monetary system is in peril?
Not to mention British Telecom shares.
That's not a very British attitude, Mr. Perkins.
It's my life that'll be in peril when they find out that I told you. Oh, I need protection. Now, my idea is that you let me stay in one of the cells here, Governor, till the heat's off.
He's a creepy calling.
Ivy toad. Not nice to be with.
Well, as for myself, I don't mind him being here as long as he's not put in myself.
Nor mine. Nor mine.
I have it. How about solitary?
Solitary what?
Solitary confinement. Locked away all by yourself.
Oh, that would be superb, superb. Put me in your deepest dungeon.
Is that agreed there?
Agreed.
My own confinement. Wonderful, ideal, just right.
So, men, now it is important you all get some ice shut and have an early night. Midnight tomorrow. Oh, no, now it is midnight tonight. We go to work on this, the most exciting project we have ever undertaken.
Let me get this straight. You are saying if Colony programs the security vans not to deliver their loads, all of the 100 vans will be full to the brim with old and new money when they arrive at the garage.
Exactly. But not only that, they intend to empty the Vault of Vaults and use the last 40 vans to get that stuff to their secret airfield.
Now, what time is all this happening?
Well, between midnight and 1 o'clock tomorrow, they'll be infiltrating at least 200 men into the garage at Safe and Secure Security in 2s and 3s, and they apparently hope to be off the premises an hour later.
Well, there's obviously only one answer.
What's that, Charles?
How many men could we muster from here, Governor?
Well, about the same as Colony, I should imagine.
Thought as much. And could we use your plastic card to get through the gate, Perkins?
But of course.
Then the answer to our problem is clear.
Yes, but what is it, Charles? I must admit I've got a little bit lost somewhere along the line.
We go round at 9 o'clock tomorrow night and remove all the vans and treasure before they arrive at midnight.
Jove, Charles, brilliant.
But where are we going to hide 140 security vans? They'll be onto us in a flash.
And flush us out in no time.
We're not going to keep the vans, Nigel. We're simply going to empty them and then return them to the garage before the clock strikes 12.
The Cinderella hour.
Beg pardon?
Cinderella had to leave the ball by 12. Otherwise, she'd just disintegrate into grime, filth and rags.
Sorry I asked.
And Nigel, I do know the perfect place to store the loot. Right, lads, an early night. We've a busy day tomorrow. Now, let me check. Dear pedestrian... No. Dear passer-by. Yes, that's better. If you find this hastily scratched note that I'm throwing out of the window, take it to my friend Geoffrey Peters at the address below. I am a prison warder being held prisoner by the governor, his prisoners, and my ex-fellow warders. Oh, yeah, please tell him, Geoffrey, that is, that he must come and rescue me forthwith.
It's the last of them safely away. Strange to sense the prison around one totally devoid of staff and inmates. And to me, of course, has left the most difficult role of all to await their return. A role I shall bear with fortitude. If only I had my autobiography, I'd have a quick browse through my life to pass the time. Oh! Good Lord! Who on earth could that be? Can't be them back already, they've only just gone. Oh, there's only one way to find out.
Evening, Governor. Thought I'd pop in for one of my surprise visits.
Good Lord! Mrs. Sopworth!
Through here, gentlemen. Gosh, cameras everywhere.
Obviously, no expense spared on security.
And an amazingly vast area awash with shuttered vehicles.
Quite. Which are the empty vans, Mr. Perkins?
Over there. The 50 to the left, they have the new money. And the 50 to the right, the old.
Fine. Right, lads, everybody with a driving licence, take up position beside a van to the left or the right. Mr. Perkins will come round shortly to give you all the various keys to get them started and unlocked at their destination.
Right, Charles. I got a licence, but it's suspended at the moment, Charles. Does that still count?
Better not take any chances, Nigel. Wouldn't like to think we were breaking the law.
Right. I'll go and get the van keys from the outer office.
Before you go, could we have your MasterCard to open the central vault?
I'm awfully sorry. I should have told you before. It doesn't actually work, that one. We'll have to leave all the Mafia treasure behind, I'm afraid. Excuse me.
Oh, no, we can't. We must teach these blighters a lesson.
Oh, it's all right. Fingers and I are organising that. He'll tell me where the tumblers are sighted, and I'll make the necessary indentations on the card itself.
Right, Tommy. Has every van got a driver?
Yes!
Good. Now, 2 extra men to every van to help unload at the destination. Preferably warder plus prisoner where possible.
Right, here are the keys, lads. But where exactly is our destination, Charles?
Oh, didn't I tell you? Sorry. Naturally, there's only one place safe enough to store such wealth of money. We're taking it all back to the prison.
Right, all vans ready for the off, Charles.
Thank you, Warder Wilt. Get it unloaded at the other end, and then back here smartish and park it exactly in its present spot.
Park it exactly in its present spot, okay, everyone? Bye, lads.
Once more, under the breach, dear friend.
We're underway again, George. We're jolly well underway.
We most certainly are, Charles. We most certainly are.
Well, it's very nice of you to offer me sherry like this. Unusually convivial of you. But I do feel I should now be getting on. If they've finished their prayers, that is.
Prayers?
Yes. You said the reason you'd opened the front gate was because all your warders were overseeing the prisoners' good-night prayers. I was most impressed. Moved, in fact.
Oh, of course, yes, the prayers. God bless Daddy, God bless Mummy, not forgetting Mrs. Sopwith, of course, and all the rest of it.
They mention me in their prayers.
But of course. You do hold a very elevated position in their lives, Mr. Sopwith. As chairperson of the parole board, being the final arbiter in their desperate strivings for freedom and fulfilment in the outside world, you are, if you'll excuse the elevated euphemism, almost a goddess to them.
Goddess?
Oh, yes. If there was such a thing as a prisoner's top 10, you'd be way up there in the charts, Mrs. Sopwith.
I'd simply no idea that's how they viewed me. Never thought of it like that before. Parole board is just one of those things that a certain class of lady does without thinking. Part of one's civic duty, like sitting on a public school board of managers or campaigning for the reintroduction of hanging, the abolition of fox hunting, that sort of thing. It certainly makes one see one's responsibilities in quite a different light when one hears one's mentioned in a chap's prayers. Goddess, you say?
Yes. Oh. A spiritual pin-up, Mrs. Sopwith, a font of inspiration. And, of course, in these circumstances, one must indeed think very carefully of one's responsibilities and their welfare.
Oh, their welfare is, of course, of great importance.
Yes. And I just wondered whether, bearing that in mind, if it mightn't be better to put off this evening's session of peering through their peepholes to a slightly earlier time tomorrow evening.
But why?
In case you should accidentally wake any of them up and spoil their beauty sleep, as it were.
But they've only just finished their prayers. They'll still be wide awake.
You'd be amazed, Mrs. Sopwith, absolutely amazed. Once their heads touch their pillows, they're off like a flash. Just a few prayers, and they're as guilt-free as the average newborn babe. And not to mention the sheer exhaustion of their regime in here, of course.
Mailbags?
Handicrafts.
Well, I'm sorry, Governor, but I really must do it tonight. Tomorrow night's impossible. One of the mayor's balls.
I beg your pardon?
The mayor is giving one of his balls tomorrow night.
Charity?
Vasectomy appeal.
Oh, well, every little helps, I suppose.
So I will have to have my peeps now, please. But I will insist the warders shift the peephole covers carefully to avoid any undue clanging.
There won't actually be any warders on duty at this moment, I'm afraid.
There won't? Why not, may I ask?
Chapel meeting. Unions, what have you.
Chapel? I thought chapels were those printer chappies, Fleet Street and all that.
Quite, yes. They meet in the chapel, say a few prayers, and then have their meeting in the chapel. Visitors are forbidden, of course, while it's in progress.
More praying? The mind boggles. What on earth possessed them all, Governor?
Mrs. Sopwith, I must tell you, confess to you, there's actually no one. No, wait. Yes, that's it. I tell you what, Mrs. Sopwith, as a special treat, I will get the master keys and let you actually go for a few minutes, actually go inside a cell. One of our more interesting prisoners.
But won't he be asleep?
Oh, no, he never sleeps. Slightly potty, in fact.
Potty?
Yes, but in the nicest sense of potty. He has delusions that he's a prison warder and constantly complains about a giant robbery going on at this present moment.
Really? But who does he think is being robbed?
Well, you won't believe this, but the Bank of England, plus the Mint. Potty, isn't it?
Absolutely. He's not potty, Governor. The poor man's deranged. Totally deranged.
I don't believe it. I just don't believe it.
I've never seen anything like it. Wealth beyond imagining.
We've really opened up something here, haven't we?
Congratulations, by the way, Fingers. Tommy, well done.
Without a doubt, every major artist must be represented here. Rubens, Van Gogh, Michelangelo, Renoir.
Some nice bits of sculpting, too. Very well proportioned.
Beautifully hung.
I beg your pardon, Nigel.
These paintings, beautifully displayed.
And every potter from Ming to Meissen. And the jewellery, the gold, the tapestries, the treasures. Oh, if I was on the job now, I wouldn't know where to start.
This, I think, would indeed make Aladdin's cave look slightly underprivileged.
Well, now you mentioned Aladdin's cave, our very own nasty genie, Cologne, will be on his way here soon with a couple of 100 thugs, so shouldn't we be thinking about getting the stuff packed up and away?
Good thinking, Tommy. Right, lads, let's get to it. Fill the vans.
Right.
Mind that, Ming.
Come, Angelino, let's go and speak to them. 2 warriors on a balcony before the battle.
Good words, my brother, good words. Open the door and let us be underway.
Friends! Friends!
When my little brother says friends, friendly like that, it means shut up instantly, okay?
You shot the hole in my newly painted plaster dome, Angelino.
Sorry, I thought it would silence them.
It did, but I would prefer not to be hurt than have a hole in my newly painted plaster dome, like I got now.
I'm sorry, Albertino. I was not thinking.
Nearly $250,000 it cost me just last year. Same painter who touches up the Sistine Chapel.
Look, I said I'm sorry. What more can I say?
Mama hasn't even seen it yet.
Hey, the boys are watching us,
My
Albertino.
dome, my poor dome.
Look, I'm really sorry.
Friends, I stand here to address you. Underneath that hole that somebody has shot in my new £250,000 beautifully hand-painted plaster dome. And this is what I have to say. If one of you bums had done this, I'd have chopped your head off and put it in the horse's bed.
That's it, Charles. There's nothing left in a vault of vaults, clean as a whistle.
Oh, thank goodness for that. I feel like a rinsed-out doily.
Oh, I'm sorry, Fingers, I haven't got one of those.
A good night's work all round. Right, let's lock up again. Well, if you two like to get off now in this last van, I'll wait for the other vans to come back from the prison and make sure the place is safely locked up again.
Well, actually, Charles, Fingers and I were talking as we brought the last of the stuff to the van, and we came up with what, in the words of that creative dramatic writing course that you instigated a couple of years back, could be termed a minor subplot.
Yes, and as we're quite enjoying being out in the open and in the fresh air for a short while at least, which makes up somewhat with a teeny touch of danger involved, perhaps you wouldn't mind if we hung about till everybody's gone to put it into action.
But of course not, Fingers. Feel free.
Whiskey, Charles.
That'll be fine.
George?
Same for me, thank you, Governor.
Right. Oh, push those wadgers and notes off the seat, George. Make room for yourself.
Oh, that's fine.
I thought to ask the lads to only put the new money in here rather than this old stuff. It's quite filthy. Housekeeper's going to give me hell tomorrow.
Does raise a bit of dust, doesn't it?
Quite. Well, here we are then. Cheers.
Cheers.
All safe back.
All barring Tommy and Fingers. They're applying a little finesse at the very end.
Finesse at the end? How very interesting. I look forward to hearing about it. Now, our great difficulty is, what are we going to do about Mrs. Sopwith?
Bit of a problem. Locked up safe on a bunk with a comatose plunket. What a to-do.
Well, you see, I didn't actually mean to simply take her to see him. I intended to lock them up together, then explain to her later that she had inadvertently helped to save the country's economy and take the consequences on my own head willy-nilly.
Good Lord. Willy-nilly. How brave.
But there was no need.
She changed her mind about visiting Plunkett.
Oh, no. When we got to Plunkett's cell, I couldn't see him through the spy hole, so I said, "It's me, Plunkett," and opened the door. He was hiding behind the door, ready to thwack me down.
You mean Plunkett actually struck you?
No, afraid not. You see, being the gentleman I am, natural training, that sort of thing, I stood aside to let Mrs. Sopwith go in first, and he thwacked her instead. Poof! Out she went like a light, at my feet.
Gosh, how awful.
Dreadful. Plunkett was naturally horror-struck at what he'd done. I mean, striking a governor is one thing, but the chairperson of the parole board is something else altogether.
Yeah, of course.
As he bent over to peer at Mrs. Sopwith, I gave full vent to my inflamed passions and felled him with a single blow.
Went out like a light, did he?
On top of Mrs. Sopwith.
Poor woman.
My sentiments, exactly. Gone. All my lovely treasures. Gone.
Who has done this terrible thing?
I don't know. I only know it is done. The family will have my garters for guts. You saw the TV series. You know the sort of a thing they do when they're not happy. The only thing they don't hang from meat hooks is meat.
Hey, Mr. Cologne, we can't find any keys for the van.
The vans. Remember, we still have the money in the vans.
But they can't find the keys. All is not well, Angelino. Something is badly bad here. Oh, Mamma mia.
Who went for the keys?
I did, Mr. Coloni. They weren't there.
You hit him for looking in the wrong place.
Yes, Mr. Colony. Take that.
The hooks were there, but no keys.
Take that.
Hey, did I tell you to hit him again, Dumpo? What do I pay you for? To think of yourself? This time, you hit him.
Oh, yes, Mr. Coloni. 1, 2, 3...
Get up. You hurt or something? What do you think I'll pay you for? To lie around looking sorry for yourself? Open up that van.
I haven't got a key, Mr. Colony.
I know you haven't got the key, stupido, but you got a machine gun, yes?
Yes, Mr. Colony.
Then open this van with it, Dumbo.
Yes, Mr. Colony.
Oh, not with the butts, you stupido fool. Oh, come here. Give me the gun, I'll show you. Like a papa, like a son.
Blimey fingers. They're not exactly taking it philosophically, are they?
No. They never have been exactly renowned for their sense of humour. Right. Now, you ready for our little jest, Tommy?
Ready. He's looking in the first van.
God, there's no money in it. Open the rest of your bunks.
Right. Now, let's get them all safely locked up inside.
And totally jam up the mechanism so they can't get out again.
I've been robbed. I've been robbed. I've been robbed.
Nearly shut. Now.
Well, I can't honestly think what to do for the best.
Difficult.
Come.
Sorry to disturb, Gav, but we stumbled across a bloke stalking outside. Said he wants to see you personally.
Me?
Personally.
Oh, very well, show him in.
Come on, in you come.
Don't know if you met him.
Nor me.
Ditto. Can't say I do either.
Oh, you will when he speaks. There's a wonderful impression of an old friend of ours. Oi, you! Speak!
My name is Geoffrey Peters. A kindly passerby brought me a note dropped from a cell window by a very good friend of mine.
Oh, Lord.
God.
I guessed he was being held for blackmail, and that this was the price that would have to be paid for his freedom.
I don't believe it's possible.
It is. It is.
My autobiography is safely returned.
Steady on, old chap, steady on. You'll get the pages all soggy.
And Mr. Plunkett?
You, sir, may take Mr. Plunkett off our premises forthwith. Pop along and free him, will you, sir?
Oh, certainly, Gav. Come on, Geoffrey. Let's go and find your friend.
Just one thing before you go. You can tell Plunkett we have proof positive he took bribes.
It was the cost of our holidays in Margate. Drove him to it.
So you knew?
Afraid so.
Get him out of our sight, Cyril.
Very good, Gav. After you.
Bribery and corruption.
Plunkett. Who'd have thought it? Who cares about bribery and corruption? My manuscript, my lovely manuscript, safely returned.
Well, that's you, Governor, happily sorted out. Plus Plunkett out of our hair.
Indeed.
But what on earth do we do with all this loot that's cluttering up the place?
A very good question, George. Only wish I had a very good answer to give you in return.
I do actually have the perfect answer.
You do?
Yes. The euphoria of getting my manuscript back has obviously set the old brain back in action again. Pass me the phone, would you, Charles?
But of course.
Here.
Come. Oh, Sergeant Breck.
Sorry to bother you, Inspector, but we've just had a funny sort of phone call.
Heavy breathing?
No, ma'am. Chap said he was a prison governor, but wouldn't name his prison. Said as he'd enjoyed the occasional TV series that our police station had been featured in, he'd give the story to us. Said the Bank of England had been robbed, along with the Mint, ma'am. Said that the 200-odd mafia men involved in the robbery were locked inside the headquarters of Safe and Secure Security at this very moment. Sounds a bit rum to me. What do you reckon, ma'am? File it?
No, better check it out once you've finished the paperwork on that lost heifer. Then give the Bank of England and the Mint a ring.
Where are they, ma'am?
London, I should think.
Right, I'll try that first.
I still can't get over the luck of Mrs. Sopworth being struck down with amnesia like that. Not remembering a dash thing.
Yes, so you've said, George, repeatedly.
Oh, have I? Repeatedly?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Charles. Oh, and Plunkett going off happily with his friend Geoffrey.
You've said that as well.
Repeatedly?
Yes.
Oh. Ah, but all the publicity. Our photographs in the paper, national heroes to a man, smashed the mafia in England, saved the economy, pardons all round, plus whacking rewards for all of us.
George, I really have had enough of this particular tale.
Oh, sorry, but it is all so jolly exciting.
George, you haven't finished with the sun cream, have you?
Oh, of course, Fingers. Who's it for this time? Tommy?
No, Cyril up the other end.
Right, there we go.
Here you are, Tommy. Pass it on, it's for Cyril.
Right, pass it on, Nigel, it's for Cyril.
OK, here you are, Billy. Pass it on to Cyril.
Oh, fine. Here you are, Basil. Pass it on. It's for Cyril.
Sure, here you are. There you go, Cyril.
Ah, charmant. Now, which of you two lovely ladies would care to baste my body?
Basta? But what is basta, Cyril?
No papa, perhaps.
No, my Gina and my Bella, gifts from a goodly God. It's not basta, but baste. Baste is to cover my torso with cream, you see.
Torso?
Yeah, the white bits, divided in two by the trunks.
Oh, the white bits. Such a little tube for such a lot of white bits.
Well, if you spread it thin, you might just make the bulk of it. No gets to do the honours.
Oh, no, we do it together. My sister and I always do it together.
Well, that should make for an interesting evening, if nothing else.
The one sad thing is that the governor didn't get a gigantic reward like the rest of us.
Yes, tragic. That's the trouble with being a public servant, George. It's supposed to be all part of a day's work, saving the country's economy.
Oh, very rarely work.
Very rarely. Sadly, he was too proud to take a penny off any of us.
Oh, tragic, tragic. Still stuck in his prison while we flollop around on boring beaches.
Hello, you chaps. I thought I'd find you here.
Good Lord! It's him, George.
Well, I'll be... It's the governor.
But how on earth did you manage to find the money to get out here, Governor? You were stony broke.
My autobiography. All the publicity's made it a runaway bestseller. It's being serialised by the Sundays and Radio 4. I'm going to be more filthy rich than the lot of you put together.
Well, good for you, Governor.
Oh, that's lovely.
I'm glad you enjoy it so much.
So much, man.
Oh, so little cream.
Tell me, girls, when you say you're here to attend to family business, what is the business exactly?
You'll find out, Cyril. You and your friends will find out soon enough.
Oh, a sort of mystery business, is it? Tres interesting.
There, finished. Now, sister, 2 minutes to 3. We must take our walk.
Oh, you'll come back?
Oh, yes, we'll come back.
Soon after, at 3 o'clock, I would imagine.
Well, I think I could manage to live with the disappearance of that sort of length. Oh, I say, you didn't tell me your full name. In case we lose contact and I have to ask for you at your hotel.
Caloni. Gina and Bella Caloni.
Oh.
By the way, Cyril, the large package we left under your Lilo to keep cool. You look after it for us till we get back.
Oh, but of course, don't you worry your little heads. It'll be safe with me. You'll be sure of that.
Okay. Bye, Cyril.
Bye.
Bye. Caloni. Where have I heard that name recently? But of course, Caloni. What coincidence. I've ended up looking after a large brown package for 2 girls called... A large brown package for Caloni's daughters? I wonder what's in it.
Peter Jones played Charles and Lockwood West George in The Bigger They Are by Wally K. Daly. The prison governor, Donald Hewlett, Fingers, Charles Hawtrey, Bullethead, John Hollis, Warder Plunkett, John Rye, Caloni, Gordon Reed, and Perkins, Adrian Egan. Tommy, John Bull, Billy, David Timpson, Wilkes and Australian Mafia man, Christopher Douglas, Basil, Ronald Herdman, Nigel, David Sinclair, Hu Fang, Garrard Green, Angelino, Roger Hammond. Mrs. Sopworth and the Inspector, Gwen Cherrill, Doreen and Gina, Mia Soteriou, and the 3 thugs were played by David Lerner, Trevor Nichols, and Jamie Roberts. The Bigger They Are was directed by Martin Jenkins.
Well,
That is it for this episode of Airchecks. Airchecks is a 3-hour podcast that is uploaded every Saturday and can be heard on the K-Tai radio network every Sunday at noon Pacific Time. See you on the same time and same channel.